Hello and welcome, Rocket League fans. We are here and we are live. Little Eastern Collegiate Athletic Conference coming hot and spicy at you. FBI Tugboat, man, with my man Curtis. I always do it backwards. My man Curtis over here, casting with me here today. Now, before we get into this action, we have to, of course, talk about the people and the organizations that do make this possible. First and foremost, big shout out to PogChimp, producing away and making our jobs as casters just so much easier. PogChimp is here, of course, courtesy of EMP Live Design, a fantastic production company that's working behind the scenes here with the ECAC. Big shout out to iBuyPower, LeagueSpot, HyperX, Legion by Lenovo, that we'll talk about a little bit more in just a second. CSMG, that is the Collegiate Sports Management Group, as well as Esports Gear, coming with that hot and spicy esports hardware and more. You can check out what they're doing on their Twitter and whatnot. But Lenovo Legion knows that you play to win, to stand out from the competition. Of course, you need that equipment, that hardware, like I mentioned, that matches the speed of your thoughts and actions. The Legion Y25 monitor delivers that. Delivers wins as well in the toughest and most critical of situations. It's got that extreme 1 millisecond response time. Got the insane 240 hertz refresh rate as well. The Legion Y25 doesn't just keep up, does a lot more. Built for those engaged in vast multiplayer battles at the tournament level, the Legion Y25 offers that 24.5-inch full high-definition IPS panel with built-in NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility, of course. The Legion Y25 monitor available at Lenovo.com, as well as other fine retailers. I'm sure you can find out what they're doing, again, over there on their Twitter, website, and more. I guess what the local place to me would be like Best Buy or something like that. Curtis,
Yep.
where would you buy your hardware?
Anywhere. Best Buy, Amazon, Newegg. You name 6 different stores that'll probably have access to the Y25. But a good monitor, good company as well. Lenovo, they definitely do things right. No doubt about that.
Absolutely. Enough about the organizations and people that make this possible, though. Let's go ahead and dive into this one and kind of give the people an idea of what it is that we're looking at here, Curtis.
I mean, a couple of teams that are 3-2, Kean and Farmingdale. Kean coming off a loss a week ago, and then Farmingdale coming off a 2-game win streak, looking to try to keep that going. The big 3-2 matchup. We're getting into the meat of the regular season, actually getting towards the end now. As we get into it, winner of this likely has a leg up on playoff seeding, and neither of these teams wants to go down to 500. That's the big thing that we're looking at. Kean, a veteran of ECAC. They were here last season as well. They know how to play, and Farmingdale, obviously, they know how to play as well. It's going to be a good matchup all the way through.
Yeah, I think really the idea here is that Farmingdale coming off of a 2-game win streak. It's all about momentum here in the great game of Rocket League, and going down early to a 1-2 scoreline, but to then keep the dream alive, Curtis, to then really just persevere all the way through this and know that there's plenty of regular season to be had.
Mm-hmm.
Then winning 2 matches in a row, again, about momentum here. Farmingdale coming back from that one, I think they might have a little bit more to play for here. Like you mentioned, though, loser of this will drop down to that even 500, that 3-3 win-loss record on this one, and nobody wants to be looking at that when their sights and minds are set on the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be a lot of fun going forward, but it's going to be a rough night for a team that loses this particular matchup, because they feel like 1 step forward, 2 steps back is the only way they're going to travel. So this is a big matchup with good players in it, and it's the acrobatics and the teamwork and the fun and the excitement all here. And with the ECAC, it's going to be a blast to be a part of.
Absolutely. This is, as far as format wise, in case you just don't watch the great game of Rocket League, the acrobatic rocket powered flying battle cars.
Supersonic acrobatic rocket powered battle cars.
My man.
That was the original game, and this is the sequel.
Exactly. That's why you have co-casters like this, people. That's why you have co-casters like this. We'll have that going on here. I guess in case you're new to Rocket League, the 2.0 version, right? Then This is, of course, your 5-minute games, best of 5 series. What we frequently see in Game 1, I think it's fair to say, and we will probably see between 2 teams, record-wise, a very, very similar on this one, will be a game one that is just going to be a lot of taste tests from both sides. This is an opportunity to really pour it all into offense and also get your defense kind of warm up, get them ready, right? Get them lively right here. Guaranteed both teams will have opportunities to do that here in game number one, and just really who shakes out on top of that one. Maybe not win wise, but really just performance wise, Curtis. I think will really put a foot forward in this matchup and then go forth, take the series.
Well, and you got to look at game one for what it is. It you called it a taste test. That's exactly what it is. The first 3-4 minutes are going to be these two teams kind of feeling each other out, seeing what kind of risks they're willing to take, and then how can we counterattack off of that. That's going to be the biggest part of that. The last couple of minutes, last minute of gameplay is going to be them letting loose because neither one of them wants to go down a game in a best of five. They've already got a game in the loss column. Oh no, they're only 2 away from losing the series. So this becomes that first game is ever important. But for two teams that haven't seen each other, two teams that are the same record, two teams that are vying for essentially the same playoff seeding, it is super important that you get a good start against a team that you're at presumably your same skill level.
Yeah, just using numbers to kind of tell the story on, excuse me, to kind of tell the story on this one. Both 3-2, both coming in for what is again like numerically the same, right? Both have an opportunity to double up in the wins category versus their losses to get up to 4-2 here, but and want to avoid that 3-3 situation. But regardless, action wise, we will get to in just a minute here, Curtis. We're waiting on a
Looks like
couple
some
of these
updates.
players to get on in and on into lobby exactly, and
Yep.
we'll be back with you guys in just a couple minutes. Don't tune away. Curtis and FBI Tugboat back in just a second. And we are back. Little Rocket League action, collegiate style here for the ECAC, continuing in just a little bit. Now, do stay tuned after the Rocket League broadcast, of course. There'll be some more generous helping, nice dose of that Overwatch action a little bit later. That is the Generals taking on another awesome Overwatch squad. That'll be in about 45 minutes or so here. And two awesome casters bringing you that action as well. For now, and for Rocket League, we got Kean and Farmingdale ready to do battle. 2, 3, and 2 teams here, Curtis.
Yep, you're exactly right. Winner gets some momentum going towards the latter part of the regular season, which is important. Loser goes down to that 500 mark. So neither of these teams wants to be there. A competitive matchup is what we should have in store for us as some added motivation for both of these rosters. Neither one wants to lose this. Neither one wants to fall down the ladder and possibly lose out in the playoffs. So this becomes an ultra important matchup at this point of the regular season, pivotal for both these schools.
It really, really is. The playoff contention will be decided here for one of these squads. One of them will be going forth with a much better shot at 4-2 and making that league playoff status. Even 500, especially at this point in our spring 2022 season. I'm not sure just how possible that would be. Of course, we'd have to do a lot of like numbers crunching or whatnot outside of this to really determine, if a 3-3 record could go in, or excuse me, I should say 3-3 record is definitely possible. They would have to win all the way out. Other teams have to lose, blah, blah, blah. That's a lot of
they
math
need help.
I am not doing right now. Exactly.
They
I am
would
not
need
doing
help.
that math right now here, Curtis. I promise you that.
Yep.
Rocket League starting here in just a second. We're still looking to get the sixth kid on in the pool for the swimming lesson or whatever it was that the saying is, and we'll get this started here in just a little bit.
So the biggest thing about this particular matchup, you go to 4-2, and you essentially control your own destiny. You have complete staying power in where you're at. All you need to do is take care of your business. When it comes to being in that 3-3, there's probably going to be a plethora of teams in that lot of teams, which are 3-3, so maybe 2-4. And depending on where everybody else sits, maybe a 2-4 gets in. But you want to be able to control your destiny. You want to be able to take care of your business and get where you deserve to be, and that's up the bracket and into one of the higher seeds as we get into playoff time. So that becomes something that's ultra important, and that's what these two teams are playing for here tonight. And looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, as am I. Talk this one to death. Maybe we'll just talk about my most recent lunch or something like this. We're still waiting for the sixth player to get on the way in here. Obviously, as you guys know, Rocket League had decent sized update yesterday, 5 gigs or so, if I remember right. And for a game that really is not that big, Rocket League is lauded the world over for being an awesome esport and entirely well-rounded and well-balanced and whatnot. And also, nice thing is you can practically play this game on a toaster, on a smart fridge, things like this.
Yeah, you're right. And the popularity of it does create the need to keep it fresh, keep it updated, keep things flowing in a forward-moving direction. And when you have a game as popular as Rocket League, over 1 million concurrent players pretty regularly, you run sometimes into update issues, which happen. You run sometimes into players individual issues because of whatever tech they're playing on. So it really just kind of depends. But either way, we think we've finally gotten through the muck and where we need to be.
Absolutely. 6th player on in the lobby. We're getting this one started here in just a second. Join respective teams. There we go. Just in case you're just joining us and you didn't catch us the first 10 times. 3-2 Kean taking on Farmingdale 3-2. Be looking at starting this one now in just a second. I'll run through the Kean roster, my good man, if you would run through Farmingdale for me.
Yep.
Kean University, looking at Ulm's Sauce, Indemnity, and Red Blur. That'll be on the left.
Yep, and it is Ebset, Drew, Otto, and Renez for Farmingdale. And we are underway with game number 1, as this will be near the midfield line. Drew with a shot. Ulm Sauce is going to take care of it. Kean trying to get it out of their own end. Ulm Sauce is on Red Blur's left. That's taken away, and Drew will try to come in to knock that aside. A little bit of back and forth near the midfield line. Good pass up and a backflip for Renez. as he's not able to get Carr the ball. We're 25 seconds in. There are no opportunities on either side as both teams kind of feeling each other out.
That's a good statement so far, right? I can definitely agree with that. Really no clear-cut W so far, and as I say that, of course, as the caster curse goes, Omsauce sends one from a different area code. Yeah, it's got to put some extra postage on top of that one.
Yeah, a little bit of a shot from the parking lot there. You see the Galaxy come through. Omsauce gets it up over Otto as Otto basically puts it on a T for him. So 40 seconds in, and Kean exactly where they want to be, getting strike number 1 on the board. And now here comes Farmingdale trying to get it back. Good angled shot, and sent through. He's going to put that one home to tie the game.
It's about as beautiful as it gets. Drew puts this one up perfectly. Little double tap. You want something done, Curtis? Gotta do it yourself. This is the Kean Cougars taking on the Farmingdale State University Rams. Rather beastly animals right there. See how that one shakes out. You know, frequently I like to talk about, which animal would win in this matchup. But really, between a cougar and a ram, I'm not really sure, Looking on about a minute into this one. Drew taking off the sides right here. Vane's trying to flip back to it. Red Blur bait and feed to get on over to that. That's when Sauce off the side right now until Drew has something to say with it. This is a decently long offensive push now against the side of Farmingdale, against these Rams. Now with that nice little redirect outside, this should be the Rams on offense.
You realize that I was muted when I talked about that. I got the Cougar in that matchup.
All good.
Yeah.
You got the Cougar in that matchup?
Yep, got the Cougar. You get the agility and the speed of the Cougar versus the blind rage of the Ram. I'm going to take the Cougar all day long. That's gonna be...
I can agree with it. I do not believe Rams are like carnivorous either, so there's not much of an offensive situation for a Ram against a Cougar.
Right. Yeah, there's no predatory instincts as far as that goes. I would agree with that. This will be a chance for Farmingdale, trying to get this back towards the front. That'll bounce into frame. Nearly a chance for State Drew there. Not quite able to get it done.
Back on over across this middle. I really feel like this has crossed 10 times so far. Tied game at 1-1. Might as well be 10-10 or 0-0.
Yeah, a lot of just back and forth. They're playing tennis at this point. See if we can get some offensive opportunities. Otto going to try to put this one towards the net himself, but a nice job by Indemnity knocking that away above his own crossbar. This will be Otto back in his own end. He will take the ball. Good carry towards that net. Red Blur gets a nice save, and Indemnity will chase it into the corner. And it looks like Kean on the defensive in this particular stage of time. We're just past halftime in game number 1. Oh, good shot right there. Renez is going to put that one home. 2-1 lead for Farmingdale.
Twice now it seems that the pressure may have been alleviated for time being, but that's Reigns now finding about as perfect an angle as one can find there, Curtis. 2-1 now, lead barely for Farmingdale.
Reigns with a nice shot, puts that one in the inside post. And Farmingdale trying to continue their 2-game winning streak. Both these teams trying to get to 4-2. Indemnity gets us towards the sidewall. Needs a little bit of help. Reigns trying to carry it. Red Blur's going to knock this one in, and here comes Otto. Looking for some help. That is St. Drew, and it will be knocked aside. Good save there. Kean trying to turn this into offense. They're having a little bit of an issue doing so. That's out front. Top of the box for Indemnity. He's going to tie the game up with 1:49 to go.
Nicely done. We are getting updates here, dear viewer. We apologize. Apparently it is Kean, Curtis, not Kean. Okay. Even though it is spelled Kean, it is spelled Kean. I feel validated because I know that I am not the first person to commit this mistake. 109 seconds left. Tied up situation. Again, 2-2, 1-1, 0-0. Might as well be 10-10. Doesn't matter, Curtis. Tied up.
Absolutely it is. We are no closer to choosing a winner in game number 1. And it is St. Drew. Good shot. Red Blur takes care of it fairly easily. Right wing side for Otto. Red Blur wins the better of that exchange. Going to work on a carry out towards midfield. Looking for another touch. Taken care of fairly easily by Omsauce. Down to the last 80 seconds in game 1. And right now, Farmingdale owns the offensive side of the field. Good save initially from Red Blur, but it's up in the air still. Top of the box, Reigns coming in to try to force the issue. And eventually it'll be cleared away by Kean. Back across midfield, and back and forth we go.
looking a little bit nice right there. Oh, comes down, tries to get these bottom tires on with that angle so that it'll slow himself down. Doesn't happen. Instead, gets him down on the true angle and keeps on rolling away from the angle that he really needed on the top of this ball. Still 2-2, 45 seconds to go. I would be fraught to make any predictions at this point here, Curtis.
Yeah, it's hard to say which way this is going to bounce. It's going to be one play that's going to give one of these teams an advantage. And Otto looks to try to make it for Farmingdale. Into the offensive corner again. Tries to win the battle. Good angle from St. Drew. Up is Reigns. Reigns gets contact, plays it laterally back in his own end. Chance for Farmingdale to regroup, recover, and take the control of this ball. That's a hard send. That's a nice shot. A little bit wide of the intended target from St. Drew. We're 9 seconds away from our first OT in this best of 5. Knocked off the top. Indemnity over the midfield line. And a chance in front for Indemnity. It's off the post and he couldn't put it home.
Oh my God.
2 deuces, wild OT game 1.
Wow, yeah, we get an overtime here in game numero uno. I am with it, Curtis. I'd have it happen no other way.
Good effort from both of these rosters early on in this series. Chance for Otto. That 50 ball will go the way of Kean, though. Redler. Rings. That's a pass. Oh, good attempt on the touch from St. Drew. Didn't quite get it done. Otto turns back in. Gets it over one. Has Indemnity to work through now. The flick over him. Chance. Oh, it's top of the box for St. Drew. That's a goal. Game 1 winner for Farmingdale.
Yeah, that's Ebest Drew right here. Fantastic shot reception, or that pass reception, I should say. After Otto puts this across the top right here, bounces right into the hands in a 3-2 victory for Farmingdale. Again, that is the Rams striking first in game number 1. Some fantastic stuff. Oh my goodness. I thought this was the case. Ebest Drew, folks, coming in with 11 shot attempts. Teammates had 3.
Yep.
The opponents on the other side had 5, which of course means the Ebest Drew had more than everybody in the opposing team and his teammates combined. Okay.
That's a lot. That's a whole lot. But that
Yes,
tells you exactly the gameplay style of Farmingdale and what they rely on, and that is Drew. Drew is their catalyst. He is their main cog in the machine. And you have to look at Otto and Reigns as those support players. Otto was playing a real nice support, playing those pass plays up towards Drew. The individual efforts from Drew really helped, but he was the finisher. He was the one who kept that machine going, and they ended up with a win because of it.
He is the one who knocks. 11 shots for Ebest Drew. Crazy stuff. That, of course, leads to the other side, Kean, 10 saves total. Double-digit saves in a game number 1. What this tells me, of course, is that Farmingdale partially took this game number 1 in this best-of-5 match simply because they just spent so much more time on offense here, Curtis. The simple fact that one player is allowed to get 11, teammates getting 3 between the two of them, so 14 total shots, and with 10 of those blocked away. Some crazy numbers from multiple members of Farmingdale there in game number 1.
You're right. I mean, the biggest thing is if you're going to put balls on the net and force the opponent to make saves, chances are good that a good percentage of those are going to go in. And that's exactly where we sit right now. But now Farmingdale only being able to win that game by 1 is a fun little situation because, and it's going to be Indemnity getting the first strike on the board for Kean as we are 1-0 scoreline just 17 seconds in.
That we are. We'll switch it on over to gameplay in just a second, guys. Looking at Kean that is struck first right here. Actually, you know what? I think I even said I said the wrong name a second ago. You did. You said Kean, but I didn't say nothing.
Well,
I appreciate you.
It's okay. It's okay.
Bugging out a little bit? What is going on? Oh my God. I don't know why.
Nope, that's going to be Reigns able to put that one in to tie the game up. Just 27 seconds in. We've got a goal on each side, and we are even at 1 apiece.
Okay, well, this one was obvious. It was broadcasted to everybody. I don't know how that just happened. I was trying to see who was still in the game, and it seems it changed me onto the Farmingdale team for a couple of seconds. How fun is that, guys? Go ahead, throw that one out there. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if that actually influenced the game, but if it did, I think Farmingdale will have a he's going to take a test that because having a first player on field will obviously affect their spawns coming in. I apologize for that. That is my fault. No idea how that happened.
I don't know that it did or not, but either way, it's a 1-1 scoreline in Farmingdale. Tide did indeed tie it up. We are a minute into game number 2. Otto and Homesauce went after the 50 ball. It'll be into the Kean corner. Indemnity. Over 1. Reigns. Puts it up into the air with a little bit of help. That's a nice pass. Homesauce going to come in, try to get one into the air again. Great play defensively by Reigns, though, to knock that one aside. 3:45 to go in a 1-1 game. And a good piece of effort defensively to make sure that that offensive opportunity goes by the wayside.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no, almost a great angle on this outside. Kind of picking up boost on the outside as he was coming in, not already having it going in. And I'm going to say Otto has a little more boost and then cuts to it as opposed to what he just did there. That would have been another goal on scoreboards here for the side of Farmingdale. As it is tied up, though, about a little less than 2 minutes into this one. Red Blur and the rest. Kean here will be doing a great job on offense looking at this next one.
A lot of good challenges coming out from Farmingdale, able to keep the ball away from their frame. That's been important. This is one right towards their frame, though. Good stop coming in from Drew. So it'll be Red Blur. Red Blur off the corner wall. Real good touch from Otto. Is going to put it right in Drew's wheelhouse, and it had to require a save to be able to keep that one out. Indemnity's there to get it back to midfield. Good pass as well. Homesauce back the other way. That's a hard send and a nice save for Drew once more. He's been all over the place in this series. MVP and then some for Farmingdale. This will be a chance for Otto, but it's put too far out in front of him. It's Red Blur off the corner wall. Right wing side, trying to get it there. Not going to work. Homesauce can't recover, and it's going to go into the empty net the other side. Reigns gets credit for it, and it's a 2-1 lead for Farmingdale.
There you go. So Reigns and the rest of Farmingdale coming away from the situation when it was just the E-Best Drew show for a while right there. No assists, a couple saves, and a shot attempt on board for E-Best Drew. Kean doing a great job shutting down E-Best Drew. Hands down the heavy hitter here for Farmingdale offense so far here in game number 2.
We are just past halftime. Opportunities coming out for the Kean roster and for Farmingdale. Farmingdale will take more advantage of them, at least so far. That'll hit the ceiling and eventually come down. Good turn by Indemnity. Opportunity for Red Blur. Off the left wing wall, Indemnity. Homesauce there as well. Indemnity wants contact. That's a nice pass. Homesauce with an empty net, and he's going to put that one home. Great passing in the offensive end leads to a 2-2 tie game.
Yeah, I'm going to say easiest goal right here after Indemnity doesn't really get a great like a great hit towards the middle, and then defender doesn't really kind of play his player and doesn't play the ball as much as it is. Easy one there for Kean. We'll be looking at about 100 seconds left. What a roller! Red Blur now shaking this one down bottom, actually rolling across this kind of side post right here as E-Best Drew just simply can't get to it in time.
Good kickoff goal as well. A little bit of a worm burner from Red Blur as he's able to put that one on the ground and keep it there. And gets there before Drew on the corner. So that was a real nice piece of hustle to get to the open ball in the offensive end. Now it's Kean with 2-1 answered and a chance for them to put this game 2 away, potentially with one more. It's Reigns. Reigns in his own end. That's a dangerous ball. Farmingdale does get it away from their net. Red Blur has to go all the way back to his cage to knock that one away. Chance for a turn from Otto. Oh, Drew with a shot. That's going to get hit before it gets gone. And a demo in the offensive end for Farmingdale will cause one of the Kean players to wait 3 seconds to play again as we come to our last 75 seconds.
Back on after this corner, it is doing a pretty good job. This squad has Farmingdale of, like, yes, they're facing a defensive pressure, but they're standing up to it pretty well. Just like that, that's kind of like a random ball. The offensive for Kean kind of failing to really fire on all of those cylinders, especially when you're talking about player coordination and getting passes to one another.
That's out in the middle. That's a pass for Red Blur, but couldn't quite get there. That's a big problem the other way for Kean, and Otto gets one from the parking lot to tie the game up at 3 goals apiece.
From the parking lot, from the store next door, you know, from a neighborhood or two over, something like that. 103 kilometers per hour at that distance as well. It tells me that ball was traveling rather fast. Tied up situation, 3-3, 45 seconds to go.
Yep, big clutch situation. One of the teams has a hero on it. Chance for Kean to get out of their own end. That's a dangerous ball, though. in front, coming in. Reigns is there, wins the better of the 50, knocks it off the corner. That's a pass. Doesn't get over the two Farmingdale players. Drew and Otto were in the same area. Reigns will force the issue. Looking to get it over one. That's in frame. Dangerous ball. Drew is there. That's going to pinch out in front, but over the head of Otto, and Otto has to recover in his own end to take care of this. Dangerous ball, but Farmingdale lives to tell about it, at least for the moment. That'll be in front. Sauce can't put that one home. 8 seconds left. 7 seconds. This will be back towards midfield. Opportunity. Reigns can't put that one towards the net, and Red Blur will look to put this one probably at least up in the air and into the offensive zone. Will do so, but they can't finish it. And we have OT now in game number 2.
OT in game number 1. OT in game number 2. I'd have it no other way, Curtis. Red Blur taking this one across the middle. Let's get it going. I thought that was going to end early.
Very close. Very close to making this one happen early once more. Drew was the hero in game number 1. He looks to do it again here. Good 50 ball coming across. Let Red Blur across the face of goal. That's a bounce. Indemnity loses that one to Drew. Red Blur with the carry towards the sidewall. He'll lose it on the sidewall. Sauce. Back over midfield. We'll try for a foul. That's a nice pass. Indemnity trying to finish it towards the empty net. That's going to find its way in. And Kean has tied up the series at 1 game apiece off a gorgeous pass into the middle from Sauce.
That's exactly what Kean was looking for. The passes into points, my friend. The coordination there. The communication is definitely there. Whatever it is, game number 2 goes the way of Kean. And we have now guaranteed a little bit extra Rocket League, my friend.
Yep, absolutely. Definitely not. We don't like to stream blowouts here. No doubt about that. So we have ourselves now what's down to a best of 3. And Kean and Farmingdale, this is the competitive matchup we expected. We came in with 2 teams, 3-2. Neither of these teams wants to give an inch tugboat, and we have ourselves a 1-1 series tie after 2 OTs in games 1 and 2.
Again, double overtime situation early in this matchup. Taking it to the numbers, only 10 total shots for Kean versus, 7 on the other side. That doesn't really show a blowout right there. Really the saves, though. That's 6 total for Farmingdale versus Kean's 3, and especially with these assisted goals all over the place there for Kean. Only 1 assist for the 3 Farmingdale goals that actually made it in the other side of that opponent net. And once again, Ebest Drew does come out with the most points there, but that is not off of goals. That's just from a fantastic defensive performance. Again, putting up numbers here. Ebest Drew with 4 saves has more the entire team on the other side, plus a member of his own.
It's arguable he's one of the better, well-rounded players on either of these 2 rosters, and he's showing it with his performance so far. We're about to get into game 3, though, and this is a pivotal game 3. As mentioned before, neither team wants to lose this series, but the winner of this game 3 has their opponent on match point as they work to get the right now what is the second hardest victory in a best of 5. We'll see if either team has the advantage as we get into this 3rd game, and we are underway once more. And it's Kean University going up against Farmingdale. Both teams 3-2 entering into week 6. This will be chance for Sauce on the takeaway. And then he's going to win the angle there to keep it in. Good job by Red Blur. More Kean offense. It's going to be a pinch into the middle, but a great defensive play from Drew to knock that one aside, and another one as well as he clears it into the corner. Farmingdale will get comfortable and into the offensive end. Drew gets demoed, and it'll be a chance for Kean to clear it away on their side. So a couple of good opportunities. Nothing doing as Red Blur makes the save.
So we turn on the offensive push right there, and we see every Kean member nowhere to be found, right? It's all drop down, flow in like water. Lock this one away. Doing a fantastic job on the defensive side, Kean has so far. Not that Farmingdale has been all in offense so far yet either. This has been decently even, and Farmingdale, I feel like, definitely has close to the top there. No shots on board quite yet for Kean. Both shots from Farmingdale did get saved on the other side, so points coming in there for both teams.
You see a better placement there from Otto as he misses on the chance to put that one towards the net. Got to force these teams to make saves. There's a chance for a save, and Sauce makes it. Good job there as Kean defensively, seemingly solid. Otto, that's a C towards that net, and he's going to find the net past Red Blur. That's going to be a 1-0 lead for Farmingdale as he hits one past half.
109 kilometers per hour. I do believe that's the fastest we've seen on stream here for the ECAC broadcast. I'll mark it down here, Curtis. Fantastic passes over here, man. But again, we have literally watched this evolve from a game one where it was literally just the eBest Drew show, right? Like this team managed to come out on top, and eBest Drew was just doing everything in a bag of chips.
Yep.
Shut down in game number 2, forced to play much more even-handed performance Farmingdale has. They do drop that one in overtime as well. This one is literally anybody's game.
This is in front, chance for them to come back and make a 2-0 lead out of it, and Drew is going to hit that 10 times out of 10. 2-0 lead.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will. Reigns puts it out. Both Olmsauce and Indemnity not only come off of wall, but don't come off with any sort of momentum off this with which they can jump, get out to this one, or even strike down at it. Kind of block this guillotine shot. Not going to happen. With that, we have reached one of our largest score differences in this matchup so far at 2. That should tell you just how close this is.
And now we see Kean in a spot where they need to answer. He didn't want to really make a mistake like this.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Like, when I fall to something like those, like, man, come on, dude. I'm not tougher than that. Like, what's going on? It really was incredibly slow.
This will be played back towards midfield. Rings. Tries to keep it with. He will defer. Oh, that's towards the net.
My
What a
God.
chip by Drew. That is ridiculous from him. It's a 3-0 lead in Farmingdale. Starting to work the tractor.
Clip it, clip it, clip it. If you're friends with eBest Drew, clip that into existence. Olmsauce gets nothing but a front row seat to the flashiest play on this one that we've seen so far. Anybody just new to Rocket League did not use front of car, did not use top or side. Kind of used the back left tire on here for that clipping action to keep on the trajectory true and really just redirect and really add a little bit more oomph to it. That is an incredibly hard shot for anybody to master.
Yeah, I think Drew needs to be ticketed for decent exposure there. Just kind of flashing his boost. 2:22 to go. Indemnity, good little shot inside post, actually towards the middle of the net, but they'll get one back and still plenty of time left.
You said indecent exposure. I'd be more concerned with the vehicular manslaughter. There's been demos everywhere the past minute or so. But just like that, Kean has perched themselves a little bit of breathing room right here, right? Score difference of 3 at halftime doesn't look so good. Score difference of 10 seconds off halftime, but only down by 2. Much, much better.
Looks a little bit better. Just 2 plays from getting the team back even. However, they also have the unenviable task of stopping Farmingdale, which has been a little bit of a problem so far. That's a nice play in front. Indemnity with a nice save coming out from Otto. What a defensive play to make sure that doesn't get into that. Indemnity, what a touch. Oh,
Kean definitely wants it.
They do. They want to get back into this game, no doubt about that one. Here comes Drew. Indemnity knocks it away from him. That's a chance in front for Red Blur, and he's going to make it a 1-goal affair with 1:46 to go on the empty net.
I gotta say, this is a minor mistake from Otto, playing player as opposed to playing ball. I think he just thought that he could get there a little bit earlier. If he'd cut this one to the right a little bit, yes, that angle might have come in and this ball would have landed true anyway, forcing the hand of a defender. But you gotta play those balls given that the trajectory is true. You could have read that one, I mean, decently easy, right? It's obviously an open angle right there. It's gonna go somewhere on that side. Given that net was relatively open besides that, you gotta play those balls instead of playing on the player and trying to get demos and whatnot.
This is up off the crossbar. Chance for Farmingdale to take that 2-goal lead back. Not going to happen on this occasion. Remember, Kean was down as many as 3 in this game number 3. And Farmingdale starting to get a bit of a rhythm back, trying to get something in the semblance of momentum. Reigns is up, trying to finish this, tries to find the angle, not going to work. Red Blur has a touch, looking for a second one, didn't get it. Otto with a chance individually to try to get this one pitched forward and does with 1:04 to go. It's a 2-goal lead again for Farmingdale.
Let the replay do this one justice. Clean.
Yep.
Clean. That is now 2 different goals that Farmingdale has taken without just the absolute control of this card hitbox. That last from Otto, the first one from eBest Drew. We would be looking at a tie game.
Very, very good work from Farmingdale to keep the momentum alive here. As they get back the 2-goal lead, Otto's going to have to chase this in his own end. 51 seconds to go. Kean has to leave themselves some time for one more strike if they can, after they score the 3rd goal if they do. That's going to be hard off the top. Chance for Kean, not going to work. Olmsauce can't direct that one towards net. Now it's Farmingdale. That's a good pass. Needs a 3rd high. It'll be Reigns coming in. off the corner, but Indemnity's going to take control. Plenty of room. We'll get it back out to mid with 36 to go.
Score difference of 2, definitely hard to overcome here with about 20 seconds left, but not outside the realm of possibility yet, especially with the way these two teams have been playing. Otto and the rest of Farmingdale just play a super slowed down defense. We see the switch on over there. They are no longer playing against the Kean University Cougars. They are playing against this clock. And that sand in the hourglass is now out. It might be 5-2, might be 3-4. Regardless, the end result will be the same. And that, my friend Curtis, is the first time that we do not see an overtime in this matchup. Just in case you're just joining us, that simple stat line right there should tell you enough that you need to know about this game.
Yep, and 2 is the highest differential we've had in either of the first
Crazy.
2 games as well. So that is going to be a pretty big momentum boost for Farmingdale, as now they have Kean on match point. Farmingdale a chance to go with a 3-win streak here at the most crucial part of the season. That's important. Now they have to finish the job and keep Kean down. But Kean is not going to go out without a fight. We know that.
That is very, very true. Not so quietly into the dark night, as they say. 0 shots on for Reigns right here. Yes, Reigns got 2 assists, on in there, but the entirety of these 8 shots otherwise for Farmingdale, just Otto and from E-Best Drew. No saves as well, so I got to say, Farmingdale comes through with a full 3 players, right? With Reigns really kind of picking up that slack, putting in their own efforts and whatnot. And these numbers are a little bit more clear cut. I think we know who we're going to win, or who we're going to see win, in game number 4. If it is Farmingdale, then this one will go down 3-1. Kean comes back, and game number 4 strikes back here, like the Empire. We're looking at a 2-2 in a game 5 situation. We got to get there first, though, good folk. Get there first.
And we have to do exactly that. Game 4 on your screens here very shortly, as we have as Kean tries to extend this series to a decisive game number 5. On the other side, Farmingdale not looking to let this get into any further series of doubt. We are ready to go for game number 4 in this best of 5. Curtis and Tugboat with you, ECAC Spring 2022. In week number 6. This will be a chance. Indemnity gets knocked out of the way. Reigns trying to catch the angle, and it's going to be him with a little bit of help from his friends. It's a 1-0 lead.
Double demo into points. That's a way to make a statement here in the first 11 seconds, people. 11 seconds of game number 4. And that pays off in spades right here, right? You see so frequently, even at these higher levels of Rocket League, that non-effectual demos come in. Really, all you give that other player is a 2-second time to take a sip of water, and then a 34 full boost tank and positioning on the defensive side of their field.
Indemnity, that's an inside post shot. Good save there from Drew. So a 1-0 lead for Farmingdale. They have enough goals to end this series. And a defensive play needed, and a nice one there from Indemnity, but it doesn't matter as Reigns is going to get the rebound. 2-0 lead for Farmingdale with 38 seconds gone.
I gotta say, it's a good job from Indemnity, right? Like they really did everything that they could on this one. At that point, I'm looking at Red Blur, I'm looking at Home Sauce, wondering where exactly it is that they're at. Even me, a bronze player, right? Reason I'm on this side of the casting desk, people. Even me, I could tell that angle was true and still had to play the hand that you were dealt, right? Even if he comes up at this and doesn't get the angle and ends up technically own goaling, then regardless, solid job. You gotta stretch for these regardless, right? That angle doesn't always get predicted true. As it is, teammates have to be doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Have to be waiting for this ball to be bounced out and that double tap. This one coming in from Reigns, or that last coming in from Reigns, to be going there, right?
Chance for Home Sauce. Got to knock that one home. They needed it. They got it. 3:53 to go with a minute gone plus, and it's a 2-1 advantage now.
It's about as clear a pass from the side on in as you get. Red Blur putting this one up across the top. 106 is not our fastest. 109 was our fastest goal in broadcast today, people. And we'll continue to monitor that one. At least 3 minutes, 53 seconds left in this game. Number 4. Can't imagine 109 to be the fastest.
Faster than that 1 millisecond response time you get on the Y25 monitor from Lenovo.
Heyo!
There you go. There you go.
I love it.
That's in front. Chance for Drew to knock that one home, and he makes no mistake. 3-1 again.
Oh. A caster to the core here, Curtis. On C's right there. I'm with it with the alliteration. Regardless, though, third shot on for Farmingdale. They're so close to that 4-2 overall match scoreline, Curtis. They can taste it.
They're trying to get there. one more win. They got about a minute and a half gone in the game that they need to win to end this series. This will be Otto. Linko ball into the middle. Red Blur knocks that one away. Off the right side. Chance for Kean to get it out of their end. That'll pinch back towards midfield, but right at Farmingdale, and Otto keeps it in for the moment. Now Red Blur. Red Blur towards the net. Oh, big save from Reigns, knocking it off the corner of the post to make sure it stays out. That's clutch. 3-1 lead. It remains with 3:03 to go.
180 seconds left in this, 3 minutes left on this one. Ebest Drew reads this one easily like a book. See, this is what I was talking about, non-effectual offensive plays, and just like that. All right, let's watch this replay here. I want to break this out a little bit. The only reason this ball is coming this way is because of a very, very weak offensive shot from Kean, excuse me.
Yeah.
This one was put down like right across the middle. Ebest Drew is there. It's not like, he's going off at a wonky angle. It's not like he's getting tossed or thrown off to the side. There's nobody there to bump him away from this shot end. There's a perfect rebound that leads into the fourth. Now, I'm always one for offensive shot attempts here, Curtis. But if you give away possession like that and they turn into points in such a situation that's clearly red early, just don't be surprised when you get to the end and the legend is the same.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense there. Halftime coming gone in game number 4, and it is all Farmingdale right now, but Kean has come back and made a 3-goal lead interesting before. They're going to try to do it again. That'll be in front of their net. Red Blur needs to get this away. Can't do it. That's hard off the corner. Good bounce. Red Blur trying to fall on top of it to get it cleared away. Indemnity loses the chance. That's an empty net to work with. Drew tries to pass it out in front, but he's going the wrong way. That's not going to work, and Indemnity does get control of the ball for the moment. But there's Farmingdale again at the midfield line. They've been all over the transition game, keeping the ball into that offensive half and just shrinking the field.
Yeah, a fantastic point right there. 110 seconds left. Separate this Kean College as the Cougars here, dropping on down to that 3-3 undesirable win-loss record. Plenty of time to come back at this, looking at about a score average of once every 30 seconds. But that's just to tie it up, Curtis. It's just to tie it up.
Well, they need something pretty quick. Got to make it more interesting if they can do that. That'll be off the ceiling. We're here for entertainment value and for clutch competitive plays. And Kean needs one of those right now. Olmsaw's going to try to find one with a minute 15 to go. Needs it off the back. Red Blur going to try to dribble this in, and it's not going to work. All 3 members of Farmingdale right there to make sure that stays out, as it'll get knocked into the corner with 64 seconds to go.
Yeah, see, that's almost something I would like Kean to try and take advantage of as well. When you see this triple-up defending position from Farmingdale, a simple hit, again, not necessarily a demo, but a simple hit off to the side here, and if you, especially talking about lining up these defenders, they hit against each other, he plays multiple players out of position for a couple seconds, that is the name of the game, as it is not read there by Kean on their previous offensive push. We'll see if they're able to get it together here. Last 35 seconds or so, and it's a score difference of trace.
Redwood going to put it off the intersection, has a chance on the offensive corner. Needs a better touch than that, though, as it just rides the corner, goes right into the defender. Indemnity goes up. Not going to work. This will travel back into the Kean end with 15 seconds left. And at this point, I think the game likely has reached its swan song, as this will be a good chance for... Oh, Drew, please! Knocks it in just for good measure with 7 seconds left from the parking lot.
Comes in the first game, makes it the Ebest Drew show. Comes in game number 4 here and puts out the second season. That's a 5th goal to go here. Is put in the doggy bag. Eat it a little bit later, right? We'll let it chill in the fridge for a while if you're like me. Forget about it. Let it go 2 weeks. Pull it out. Full of fungus, full of must, full of scum.
Ew.
Doesn't matter.
Farmingdale able to take it. They take the win in game 4. They take the series final count 3-1 as well, and a lot of fun there. As both these teams, they showed spots of competitiveness talking about Kean, but they just could not hold up to what Farmingdale was giving them. And Farmingdale now winning 3 in a row. They started not very good. They started 1-2, and now they're sitting doubled up, wins to losses 4-2, and in control clearly of their own destiny.
Yeah, right. The Farmingdale coming in right here. That was Kane that lost last week. Unfortunately, now on a two-game slump here for the Kane Cougars coming in. An incredibly close match. I'm almost surprised to say that this goes down in 3-1 fashion, right? Yes, game one, yes, game four looked incredibly one-sided. Whatever it is that Farmingdale was able to communicate with their teams and move forward from game three into game four, whatever it is, it worked here, Curtis. We're going to find out exactly what that is. Try and get a little bit into the slice the mind of one of these Farmingdale players with a little interview action. We'll be bringing that to you here from a Farmingdale player because, of course, and again, Curtis, you only have winners in my interview box, okay? We're going to be looking at that one in just a little bit. Don't tune away. We'll be back. Little post-game interview action before the Overwatch that is going down in about 5 minutes. No, the voices in my head are telling me that the interview is now canceled because we got Overwatch coming in about 3 minutes here, Curtis. Do we have anything else for the good people? Because we're now pushed to time before we bid them adieu and get the Overwatch action set up.
I mean, ultimately, it's still a really good competitive series, and we're getting into the later stages of the regular season. So there's going to be a lot more exciting Rocket League to come in the ECAC Spring 2022 season. So keep yourself glued to the socials to make sure you're caught up on everything ECAC Rocket League.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Plenty more regular season left before the playoffs and whatnot. Shout out to EMP Live Designs and our producer. That's PogChimp going away. Overwatch action coming in just a little bit. Not exactly sure the team's not going to quote him wrong. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back with you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family beyond the binary, hello and welcome back to some more ECAC Collegiate Overwatch. My name is Warren Jungle God Hammond, and I am joined on the mic by the phenom herself, Dryad. How are you doing tonight, Dryad?
I'm doing pretty good. We have a good match in our hands. It's going to be the set of Cardinal Esports going against Post. And these are teams that, in terms of scores, they are looking very similar. Right? It's a 2-3, it's a 3-2. It's one more victory than the other. So, not really a big difference here. And it should make a good match because of that.
It should absolutely make for a good match. Love seeing two teams go up against each other that are, relatively even in the standings. That almost always an indicator that we're going to be in for some great Overwatch. Now, like you said, both of these teams sporting a very similar record, 2-3 for Post University, whereas Colonel Esports sitting at 3-2. Post coming off a loss most recently, whereas Colonel Esports coming off a win. So I think with a little bit better record and also maybe with a momentum coming off from that win, Colonel Esports is, I think, going to have a little bit of a leg up on this game. I think they are coming into this game maybe with a slight edge over Post University. But you know what? The Eagles, they could have had a fire lit under them from taking that last loss. So they could be, more than primed and ready to come back for a win tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because that victory, I mean, there's so many factors that can play into why it's a 3-2 and a 2-3, depending on the enemy that you have to face week after week. Some of them being the ones that you're able to take down easily, others that you have a lot of difficulty. It goes to multiple maps to define who ends up being at the top. So there's a lot of factors as well. Like you said, sure, it can be an advantage. So you can take a little bit of momentum from the last victory that you got, but more than anything to me is going to be how teams are able to adapt and to overcome those losses to continue having a positive score.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get to see exactly how they handle their most recent losses and successes as we head into our first map. We're going to be going to Busan to start things out, Dryad.
Busan is honestly my favorite map to start with as well. I know everyone always goes with Lijiang Tower for control, but I'm a Busan enjoyer. I really like it. I feel like it plays so nicely, and it also it plays very similar to Lijiang Tower in terms that every single sub map that we go into allows for different compositions to be played as well. And so that is a factor that is nice to take into account when you're looking for a dive, especially in downtown, where you're looking for a rush in Mecha Base. And we start seeing how flexible teams really are the more that we get to see from them just at the first map.
You're absolutely right. Well, let's see how flexible these teams can be, Dryad, as we're going to be loading into the game very shortly. We're going to be first moving to downtown. We're going to see, whether or not the dive, that is most typically run here, that Post has in spawn right now, how that's going to go up against a brawl, which I feel like is not the typical choice here on downtown.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna think there's gonna be some last minute changes as well, or last second changes rather for the teams, especially to take that point control. I feel like a lot of teams as well make that mistake of prioritizing that point control early on over prioritizing the fight win. So any sort of mistake that you make early on, especially in that position, is going to cause maybe a fight or two, and with that percentage that is going to the enemy.
You're absolutely right. Now, the brawl is going to most likely come away with the early point control here. Number one taken out of the fight early. That's going to be a thorn in the side of the Colonels and this brawl composition. Though a blind spawn now trying to poke in some damage from the side. But they're going to be taken out by Pope. So, going to be a 5v5 at the moment. And like you were mentioning here, point control going to go the way of the brawl. But Post knows that they can win the fight if they take it slow and they choose their targets wisely. 10% on the board now for the Colonels. Picks coming in either way. No main tank to be found on either side, though, Dryad.
No one else here, but a couple picks that are Cardinals that are just going to benefit them in the longer run because they are very stale picks that we get to see, which means the next proper fight with 6v6 is going to take quite a long time to take place, and in the meantime, Cardinals, they can get away with creating so much space like we get to see here. It's going to be the Dragons to start off, and there's not a lot of space to run with. Everything they have to do here is continuing having that point control, that presence around the map to work with.
We're going to see the dive come in now. Nano Boost committed onto Frosty. They're going to get this primal range soon. Cope still holding on to that Dragon Strike. Looking for the prime opportunity. Here's the grab. Dragon Strike going to go through it momentarily. And with that, 2 picks on the board. Make it 3 for the Colonels. Rez does come in, but it's going to be too little too late. Although I say that, and then Katsumi falls with her out of the fight. No, it's still going the way of the Colonels.
Still going their way and still managing to rotate those ultimates more than anything. So Katsumi, sure, just got taken down at the end of the fight, but it's at the same time as Post and the entirety of the team actually got taken down. So Katsumi should be able to come back in time, use that anticipation and create that space on point. As we see a dive trying to take place, but there's no heals, there's the protection here, so the primary rage has to be used.
Primal Rage committed. Now we've got the sound barrier in place from Law. That's going to give a lot of shields to their team. Number 1, the only person not the recipient of it. Speaking of Ash, it's going to be the Dynamite and a couple of shots that really start to open things up for Post. And with that, they get their first control.
It's a good control that we're able to see here. As night 3, I mean, it's quite a launch, so a single fight should do it for the side of Cornels, and they haven't given up on this fight instead. They're putting the pressure, they're coming one by one, and the picks that are trying to connect, seems like the timing now, this wasn't right. A grab that is here the way in the back is able to get a couple members. The kills are a little harder to connect.
Yeah, they're not just quite coming in. They do get one onto a Blind Swan, and that's crucial because they had the Dragon Strike. But Katsumi, she is out of the fight once again. And without those extra heals, the Post is just going to be able to post up on point and take it for their own.
40% and a good control on the side of Post. And it's a matter of now initiating with those ultimates and continuing having that point control. Those dragons very early on. And I was going to say the primary too, but the Winston got taken down too early.
Yeah, with Winston down, there goes your primary initiation tool, plus the Primal Rage, the only ultimate that was coming online for Post University. With Flirty falling as well, that is a 4v6 now for the Colonels. Make that a 7v6 as Bob is committed. Bucky has the Shatter ready to go. We're going to see them take over this point. Right now, swinging that rocket hammer. It's going to be my dudes going down. The Shatter lands onto the Primaling Frosty. They're going to be very hard to find life as overtime ticks over. The Colonels will take the first submap on Busan.
The point here is going to end up going to set Cornels. One by one, Post do get taken down, and that 99 turns into 100. But the last couple picks that can do everything. It's around end up going on the side of Cornels, and even though they struggle in a single fight, I feel like more than anything, the reason why we saw that taking place is just a matter of everyone being distributed in different parts of the map. Some of them in point, some of them trying to take the high ground control. And when you're playing like that, coordinating with your team to get the heals necessary is very, very difficult. So we saw that it staggered them a little bit, but once it came back with all 6 members, Cornels was able to take that fight quite easily. So it's a nice round for them. There's still one more to go into this one at least. And that means the compositional change is going to be the Reinhardt. This is also one of those maps where we see quite a lot of variety when it comes to compositions. Honestly, anything is a possibility here. We see a lot of dive, we see a lot of rush here. And for Colonels, bring out this rush. I like it because, you know, the difficulty that they had with communication is something that they're able to solve so much better when they're all playing together in a rush style.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. They're going to be able to, you know, it's one of the, I don't know if I want to say easier compositions to execute, but one of the simpler, as it were. You just have to stay grouped up, and just that alone is going to get you so much value. Early pick onto Post is going to lead to a second, and with that, a flurry of damage comes in, and the Cardinals take control of the point first.
Once again, pointing for what initially going for the set of Cardinals, but the commitment into the side for Post, it's something that could be working out, but it's so difficult to make happen. It does seem like the DPS though are putting the work behind. They're taking the members one by one, but as long as we don't take that loose, there's going to be more Cornell control here.
Reinhardt and Lucy are going to fall, and with that, Post is going to take this point on the heels of a great recontest coming out from them. They took that a lot faster than I was expecting, Dryad. Took me by surprise, and I think the Colonels as well.
There's a good commitment there for the GDPS. Of course, it is risky, but they were just able to capitalize from the side of Cornell's having only the Lucy to be able to work with. Captain got taken down early, and now Captain's back with an improvisation to use. It's during the hesitation as well to work with for Post to be able to push in, so Post will be getting away with it.
Excellent amplification matrix there from my dude. Almost catches out Bucky on that aggressive charge. Putt not going to meet their demise, and with that, the Colonels back off. They're going to have to try again.
All members here have to take some damage. The double shield coming in Post, everything becomes so much more difficult. We're going to be getting close to the reset, but the gold is going to block that shatter as well.
Excellent use of the Fortified there by Frosty to keep that shatter at bay. Amplification Matrix now in front of Katsumi. She's giving her team a lot more of a chance to do some damage, but it's gonna be the damage coming in from Flirty and the Stravitic Flux that seals the deal one more time from Post. And Post University, they may have found the answer to this brawl composition that the Colonels have been posting up.
With that, over 60% now, and the Post gets to see. It is a pretty comfortable situation now. The biggest task is that Kean is going to be Colonels coming in with so many ultimates. They grab dragons is the one combo that I'm looking at that can get so much value and can give them the point control that they've been craving for so long again.
That is certainly good. I think they're going to have to fade out this immortality. First, we're going to see that committed on the back of the grab, but the Dragon Strike is massive. A 4-shot for Kof. And with that, the Colonels will take control of the point once again.
Good combination there, but it requires two ultimates to make it work now. How is the rotation of those ultimates going to work? It's got to be an early sound barrier to keep the team alive as the fight starts to take place, because Post, they're going to start playing very aggressively with the Supercharger.
They certainly are. It is burning a hole in Frosty's pocket, I imagine, right now as they start to post up for their attack. Here comes the Amplification Matrix and that Supercharger, but it's going to be the Tack Visor from the Colonels. And number one that stands alone and on top here, winning the fight for the Colonels and giving them another chance in this. And oh no, the res.
And though the Viper, one of those ultimates that you can't really count on to get kills, but this is a situation where it just got to work because Cardinals, they wanted to take the fight from far away. They wanted to keep their distance from the enemy team, and it worked out perfectly only with that ultimate, putting the pressure, forcing everyone back. And as everyone got back, things got messy for Post, where Cardinals are able to hold, and now this is where we see the sound barrier.
Things are getting messy once again for Post as the Colonels just take a very aggressive stance here, pushing Post University almost back to fun, and now we're in a last fight situation for them.
Yeah, but that's going to be 90% for Colonels because of how aggressive they're playing. They're pretty much not even letting the enemy get out of spawn, but an attempt is going to be made here on this side of Post, and Colonels, they're going to recognize that, they're going to respect that, and they're going to back up.
Oh my gosh, Bucky throws down the shatter, but the Fortify is there. Got the Dragon Strike thrown in now. That's going to yield a couple of kills. The sound barrier from Law keeping everybody alive, and the law of the land today is the Colonels will take Busan with a quick 2-0.
It's a 2-0 that happens very quickly, but it also put up a fight on the side of Post. They were trying to find an answer every single time, and they were actually getting a couple fights, even more than they had to, because of their commitment into the late fights. And this is something that we don't really see a lot of teams doing. Usually, one or two of your members get taken down, you're backing up, you're regrouping with everyone else. But the DPS and the way that they were working together was so nice for them to see and to make a situation like this one work.
Yeah, beautiful play coming out from Colonel Esports right now to take them up to an early lead over Post University, the Eagles. So, as we head into our next map, and it's going to be the Eagles' choice here, we're going to be going to Escort. And right now, all we've seen out of the Colonels is this brawl composition, and it's worked great for them. So, my question is, do we see Post University go somewhere like potentially Watchpoint Gibraltar to try and get them off this brawl?
It might be a possibility, and I feel like we don't see watch point as often as I would like to, but to be fair, any other composition that is not a rush or a six man, it's so hard to run, it's so hard to synergize with. So a lot of teams go to their comfort picks more than anything. And I understand why we don't see them map too often, but it would be nice to see a change in composition like we see and like we got to see on this little post. They have some very nice strings that they can capitalize from that. And it sounds crazy, right? It's the soldier and the Torbjorn that were doing so much into the early fight that we got to see in that second sub map. So now it's a matter of how much can you get from that specific DPS line, especially from the soldier, which even though it doesn't seem to be the most meta, it is one of the heroes that you're considering when you're running in a match like this one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it has gotten a tremendous amount of value already tonight. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we continue to see the legs making a showing tonight here in this ECAC match. Um, and let's see here. Do we have a map choice yet? I'm checking. Chat. No, not yet. Still waiting on one from the players, so we can continue to theorize and conjecture about which map we may be going to for escort. Another interesting possibility I think would be Junkertown. Double shield works very, very well there, and we've already seen the Eagles use it at least once.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's also one of the only maps that allows you to play that double shield for first and second point in a way that
Right.
it makes sense. It's not something that you're able to do in every single map. So being very careful about again the comfort of players and what composition they feel like they shine the most with. My only hesitation is that sometimes the double shield is simply not going to work because you're getting directly countered over and over again. So the willingness to make those changes when it's necessary, right? You're losing one, two, three fights in a row. Well, it's time to change things around. It's time to put that pressure into the backline where, when you are playing a double shield, you're not able to do just that. You're putting pressure from that poke that we see early on. So if it's necessary, I would like to see a change in a composition like this one. And I mean, it goes to anything else, regardless of the map, too. A lot of teams deciding to commit when sometimes you just gotta make that harsh decision and change and see how pressure from a different angle can work better for you.
You're absolutely right. Adaptation is such a key to Overwatch. And, to be honest, we haven't seen a whole lot of that come out from Post except for in between rounds, right? We saw them just try to hammer away with the same composition that they were using from start to finish on Downtown and Sanctuary. So, I wonder if maybe we don't need to see a little bit more proactive adaptation coming out from this side, right? You lose one fight and you say to yourselves, oh, maybe this is a comp difference. Let's swap. That might be the kind of decision making that we need to see come out here, especially as we're going on to these longer maps where you're likely going to see several swaps coming out. Even if it's not, if it's not from an entire composition standpoint, you're definitely going to see some DPS swaps being made.
Yeah, absolutely. And we already know that the next map is going to be Rialto, which is a nice one and an interesting one too. It plays a lot into yes, the double shield for the defense is very much a possibility. It's definitely one of those compositions that teams like to run and that they're pretty good at running the more you play this map too. But also it's a map that allows you to play pretty much anything else. I wouldn't mind seeing a dive actually. I feel like it has quite a lot of potential. But the only time that we got to see the dive so far in downtown was a dive that was only the Winston going in, and it was only the Winston putting that pressure and getting no heals as well because of how he was located in the map. So if we're going to see a dive, I would like to see more of that synergy working together with the supports, especially because if your main tank is dead, there's not many openings for the entire team to work with.
Yeah, that's so true. That main tank has to stay alive. I mean, that's their job, right? To create space, to make opportunities for the rest of the team to pop off in some way, shape, or form. So the sport's definitely going to have to be very in tune with their main tank. And I agree with you. I believe that the composition, if I'm not mistaken, that we saw Post University use, I believe was a double bubble. And so I would like to see maybe a full dive composition come out. If I'm mistaken, I apologize. But even if that were the case, then I think we do need to see more coordination coming out from them. But you're absolutely right. Rialto could be a great place for that. Rialto is one of these maps where you can actually run a lot of different compositions. despite it, not having the tremendously high ground that something like Watchpoint, Gibraltar, and Numbani has.
Absolutely, and you're able to get some really nice high grounds. And of course, we talk about the role that more than anything the tanks are able to shape in a composition in the meta the teams feel comfortable running. But also another key factor to take into account going to be the DPS. Of course, this is a map where we see a lot of Ashe being played, a lot of Hansel, a lot of Cassidy too, and it is maps where it just makes sense to run composition like this one, where you don't have the most high ground, but you do have some high ground to work with and to get some nice headshots. So we already know as we go jump into the map that the composition here in the defense and the side of post is something that it's risky, right? When you look at the tanks that are going to be played, is a Sigma where the shield can get broken and destroyed so quickly, and it's a Roadhog as well that is so easy to get an ultimate with if you're directly shooting at him. So a lot of pressure for playing around the corners, getting a lot of protection with the nature of the map itself for this defense to work out.
You're absolutely right. They're going to really have to hug this map geometry very, very closely to find success. But success already early on the board for them as Flirty able to come away with a pick onto number 1. Frosty makes sure that Law loses their footing as well, finds a watery grave. Coke does strike back. Frosty, though, getting a lot of damage in onto the back line. Now that they've got some free reign, they are going to be taken out, though, as number 1 comes back into the fight. That soldier's definitely going to be picking out that bar from the sky as much as they possibly can. Now we're going to see a Bun Swan fall, and with that tank out of the way, the rest begin to fall by the wayside as well. And Colonel Esports continues through point 1, and I'm not sure if we're going to see a contest here. This might just be one and done.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's going to be the case because Cornels is just not allowing it to happen. Look at how aggressive they're playing with that Reinhardt too, contesting and making sure the post cannot push forward as the payload gets to the first point. And post, they're hungry here. They're stuck in the middle of everything. They cannot even have stairs control right now, and it can be a very nice drop around for Cornels to work with.
It sure can be. We see JFab going down very low off of some aggression, and once again, I think that there needs to be a really, really hard reset coming out from post, because right now they're just getting staggered again and again, and this is, you could even potentially look at this as still the first fight, right? There hasn't been a moment for post to be able to reset. They're going to pop the amplification matrix to see if they can stymie some of this bleeding. They're able to get a couple of picks. Card just now rounding this corner. Cove thinking about throwing out this Dragon Strike. The sides against it begins to back off. And with that, the post will finally get their first defensive hold.
And that's the thing though, right? We see the amplification being used, but it's more than anything it's a reacting tool that we get to some control on this kind of post, and because of that now they're rolling with so many ultimates at once. We get to see the whole hog, we got to see the amplification, the flux too, so much that is being invested into the team just to get control, just to get a little bit of downtime for them to position themselves a little bit better in this map and in an area for second point that is so hard for the defense to deal with. If you have no serious control, we have no chances to get anything done. So Colonels, they got to save their ultimate, so that wasn't even a fight that really affected them too much.
No, it wasn't. They're going to have 6 ultimates on board for this next fight, and you're absolutely right in that post had to use everything they had practically just to gain control. Flirty's going to let loose with the Dragon Strike. The barrage going to come out as well, but there's going to be trades on the board either way. Number 1 now with the Tac Visor, making a lot of members of the post back off, and now Colonels will have control over this card again, but not for very long as Flirty comes up with a couple of big kills.
Only those hands was able to just calm down the situation, and the multiple trades that we saw for both teams coming right and left. But Colonels, again, he lost that fight. He only lost a Visor, so it's still not a full loss for them. Still just a little bit of downtime that they get to have for just a little bit of time. While post, they're wasting so many resources early on that Colonels, it's such a good decision here.
They really, really are. They're in an even better position now that the Dragon Strike lands. We're going to see the sound barrier committed. But look at this damage coming in from the Colonels. Just a tremendous team wipe. And with that, they likely get second point. I don't know if there's any chance for a contest to come out from post.
Once again, it's not going to be the case. There's just no time. It's going to be a last-second attempt here, but with no Lucio, with no speed as well, the situation for Pose becomes so much more difficult. So the second checkpoint will belong to Coronos now to work with, and an amplification to pass the corner that is so hard to keep control of is everything that Coronos is needing to complete the map, maybe over a minute.
Yeah, that's going to be a tremendous time bank if they do in fact get it. Already going to let loose now with the Dragon Strike. It's going to be the Gravitic Flux that gets the first kill, though. And with that, Post finds the defense once again, but 3.5 minutes on the clock for the Colonels.
It's a fight once again where it's so much of a layering of ultimates from a Post that it gets concerning, because now pretty much nothing to guarantee kills, to guarantee space with, besides that amplification that can also be countered so easily and so quickly by the side of Chrono. So they're in a very neutral situation where the early pick is going to do everything to propose and to guarantee how much control they get into this corner.
We're going to see if they can get one of those early picks, because that could absolutely lead to a snowball situation. Number one, though, going to use that tac 5. They're going to be met with an amplification matrix, though, and a Deadeye. That gets rid of Law. My dude's still trying to back off just a little bit, but the Post coming away with a beautiful fight win here.
It's a point for the third part of the map, but a lot of teams get stuck. There's just not really an opening. You gotta change your composition more times than not. You can't really deal with that shield for the Sigma and the positioning that he has, because the map itself is just benefiting the Sigma to capitalize on damage, but also protection. So now Coronos, they have a task, and this is the point where I say, this Shatter either works, or you just gotta change completely the composition that you brought so far.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This has to land. The Shatter has to land big for them. Flirty has the Dragon Strike. That's the only thing going, though, for the Post this time around. Hook comes in. Bucky gets a nice early pick, and with that, the Post holds strong.
Not even a chance to use that Shatter. That is a terrible thing to happen to your team. The Reinhardt just gets hooked and separated from everyone else. Usually we see this more with a Mei, but I mean the Roadhog by itself is able to put quite a lot of job in isolating targets one by one, especially your main tank as soon as you're able to get in, as long as that shield is down. So another attempt here for Chronos shouldn't be too bad, as they now change into a Zenyatta.
Ooh, they're getting a lot of early value already as Flirty is out of the fight. We're going to see Gravitic Flux now committed to see if they can get a counter pick in, but it's going to be rezzed as a matter of fact. So, going to be 6 full members one more time for Post, and with this amplification matrix, once again, they find what they need to hold on.
Because of that fight, it enabled the rotation of those ultimates on the side of Post to work again, and the time it was over 3 minutes turns into less than a minute to work with, and it's 2-5-2 where the Reinhardt hasn't been able to connect the kills. It's such an unfortunate situation to deal with, and a Tire hoping for a miracle here.
We're going to see if that is in the cards. It's not going to be, as the Tire is taken care of harmlessly by Post University. Shatter does land, knocks down 2. Flirty's out of the fight. J-Bev goes low. The res is in, though, and now he's got the Deadeye, but some damage being done by the Colonels. Beautiful Dragon Strike as well. Frosty not able to get out of the way, and with that, the Colonels have picked up the cart once again with just seconds to go. If they're able to capture it, will be an OT.
Just gotta push and make sure that no one can get out of spawn if you want a clear chance into this one, because that Flux is about to be ready on the side of Pose, and it might be the ultimate, the last ultimate that we get to see into this fight.
It very well could be. J-Bab has swapped over. She is on the wrecking ball now to see if she can cause some disruption. Immortality Field committed by Maidusa, but already one pick in favor of the Colonel.
Oh, there's the Flux. It gets everyone here. But, I mean, gets to get to the blast point last second. Someone was at least close enough. I don't know who it was, because everyone seems to be lifted up by the ultimate. And it seems like Pose almost got away with it, but 3 points that Coronos was able to reach towards the end. And a Post that got so close, but so far to having a full control of that third point of the third part of the map more than anything. It looked very good. They were finally winning multiple fights in a row. They were finally rotating those ultimates that we didn't really see in the first and second just because of how messy everything was. And so now, still pressure. I feel like Coronos is still in a pretty good position. They get the control. Sure, they don't have time to work, but this is an assault map at the end of the day. No payload to start moving. It's just going to move right away. So it might be a pretty strong defense that we see next.
It very easily could be. We're gonna see the Colonels once again on this brawl composition that they just absolutely love. Post is flirting with the idea of coming out with Wrecking Ball, and I wonder if that wouldn't provide them with a little bit more success. Having, you know, that main tank in there to really help with initiation could be a big boon.
It's a composition that can look similar in some ways, but I still want to favor the one from Chronos, right? There's so much protection here. You have a Reinhardt, you have a Sigma, you have shields. The Post doesn't really have and cannot work with, and as long as you have shields on the defending side, there's a chance for your DPS to be enabled for success, as we've seen Coffee and we've seen everyone else do over and over again. So a little bit of poking that has to take place before the fight starts.
We're seeing that poking yield a kill, actually, onto a blind swan. JBev falls right after that, and with her out of the fight, no tanks are left for Post. Just going to be a shooting gallery now for the Colonel.
Wrecking Ball has to play in the backline on Coronos to get some value and to play around this composition. It's got to be disruptive. It's got to be putting that pressure from an angle where it's not going to be expected. But Coronos, this is exactly what they're looking for. They have a Zenyatta to connect that Discord Orb into the Wrecking Ball, as we see happening right now, and to make the situation for him to get taken down so much easier for the team.
Absolutely, but now with the Zenyatta out of the fight, the Post has an opportunity without having that Discord Orb helping to deal extra damage. Things can really start to get moving, but counterpick comes in onto a blind swan. This isn't over yet for the Colonels. They look to be coming back into this with a couple picks of their own. Pop's gonna be committed. Frosty looking for a head in the back line, is able to find it, takes out number one, but the kill still coming in for the Colonels with Frosty out of the fight. Gonna be flirty, losing the Dragon Strike once again. It finds one. Can he find more? Post may in fact be able to get something going here, but Zen Law just laid down, taking him out in the Colonel's hold.
Really good positioning here from Law, as we got to see playing in the back, getting that protection while everyone else is able to come back, especially that Reinhardt that was giving them that front line pressure that the team needed to put to win that fight, especially because there is a Hanzo and it's a Widowmaker. It's a scary situation to deal with on the defending side, as a Zenyatta that has no shield, has no healing, or barely any to work with. So now Post is going to start this one aggressively, knows the positioning here, has an implication to work with too, but a single kill is not going to guarantee the entire fight.
No, it's not, especially when Transcendence has been used as well. A blind swan gonna go in, see if they can find some value, having to fall back to their team now, as many of the members of their team are falling. It's gonna be Bucky, though, taking a trip back to spawn for the Colonel, so there is an opportunity here. But with Deadly Drew just now respawn for Post, up to my dude, but to try and keep everyone alive, and that is a tall order right now with a lot of aggression coming through onto this Widow. Gonna be taken out by a nice headshot, and with that, Cove cleans up for Colonel. Oh, my dude, though, able to take him out at the last moment.
Puppy hungry for those 3 kills as well. Only able to get 2, but not too bad in a beneficial situation. No minute remaining. The Hands was able to come back just in time to recontest the scenario. And with 45 now, Minefield is everything that Post is looking for. Has to position the right, so he's going to go for the high ground, putting a little bit more into those DPS that are just putting so much to work with in that positioning.
Yeah, they really are. And the work getting done by this Minefield is tremendous as well. Picked up a couple of kills. That's going to be another 30 seconds left to go. Things seem to be turning around for Post, but Bucky might have another idea. JBev, she's not doing a lot of damage from the high ground, but Buttnut, Bucky, and Law are still online. Just 11 seconds left to go now for Post to try and regroup and make something of this. Otherwise, we're headed to a map 3 with them on match point. Transcendence has to be used by Colonels to survive that Dragon Strike from Flirty. Now we've got the Bob committed by number 1 again. J-Bev has fallen. That is huge. Both ultimates have been expended by the support line of Post. Deadly Drew down very, very low. Bob is able to find a couple of kills. Cove now layers in the Dragon Strike, and with that, the Colonels go up 2-0 in this best of 3.
Only one more map to go on the side of Cornell's if they're about to take this victory. It's a nice one that we've seen from them. It's a clean full hold as well that we got to see into this 3rd point, which feels like doesn't happen as often. So it's something that also just clicks after they had so much difficulty into that 3rd point. When they were attacking, they made the last couple adaptations, which means also changing the composition a little bit more with that Zenyatta. And that Zenyatta as well, that is just more than anything protected enough to use that Transcendence in the last fight. So the space that the attacking team was trying to create over and over again, especially into the last fight with the Dragons, was denied. That Transcendence is going to be enough to keep the team alive and to get that pick that we saw early on. I really, really like how nice the backline on this team is looking, no matter what they're bringing. We've seen quite a lot of variety by now.
We have seen a bit of variety, and you're absolutely right. They're looking fantastic regardless of what they run. And post university, I mentioned this before. I'd like to see a little bit more proactive adaptation coming out from them. They're, it feels to me like they're just banging their head against the wall in some cases, right? And hoping to see some cracks eventually, and it's just not happening. So I think a wholesale, swapping an approach might be a good idea for them as we move into the 3rd and potentially final map. But before that, we're going to throw to a break. But before that, I want to tell you a little bit about one of our sponsors, Lenovo. So, Lenovo Legion knows you play to win. To stand out from the competition, you need equipment that matches the speed of your thoughts and actions. The Legion Y25 monitor delivers wins in the toughest, most critical situations. With its extreme 1 millisecond response time to its insane 240 hertz refresh rate, the Lenovo Y25 doesn't just keep up, but does a lot more. Built for those engaged in vast multiplayer battles at the tournament level, the Legion Y25 offers a 24.5-inch FHD IPS panel with built-in NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility. The Legion Y25 monitor is available at Lenovo.com and other fine retailers. Thank you so much, Lenovo, for helping put on ECAC, Collegiate Overwatch, and other esports action. We very much appreciate you. Be sure to check them out and that monitor if you're looking to upgrade one as well. Dryad, that's going to do it, though, for these first couple of games. We've got a 3rd right ready for us around the corner. Anything from you before we throw it to break?
No, I'm just ready. I want to see a little bit of a nice break for both teams to see if we're going to see maybe a different map that is a little bit unexpected, that would also enable those compositions that we've been talking about so much.
Absolutely right. Well, we're going to see where we're going to go right after this break. The map type will be Assault, and it could be our final destination here tonight between these two teams. See you all back here in just a few short minutes. I hope you got a full glass of water or something to drink out there, everybody, because we are headed to the arid and harsh deserts of Anubis. This is where Post is going to try and come back from a 2-0 deficit and take the reverse sweep against the Colonels.
It's a map that definitely enables something like that to happen, but it's a scenario as well that you have to just take step by step on the side of Post and see how much value you can get out of this defensive composition, because it's a difficult one to run. It's an Orisa that is very good at controlling space and is going to try to control the high ground for as long as she can, while the Diva has a task to put that pressure on the high ground, also peel for the supports a little bit, and also make sure that the Pharah is in check and staying alive, because that is where most of the damage will be coming from on this side of Post. Well, Coronel, I mean, the composition is already looking a lot better. Some last second changes that are going to be made here after they got some info very early on. And with that, it's really more than anything, Law that we got to see in this support line before is going to jump into the DPS, and with the Sombra, this win condition for them is going to be set.
That it will be indeed. We're going to get to see Pharah grounded by a hack coming out from Law. They go down very low, but are able to get out to safety. JBev has to have the Immortality Field used to keep them up, as a Blind Swan able to find a pick on to catch Jimmy, sending her back to spawn. Now we've got a lot of damage coming into the Colonels in this airway area. Blind Swan gets stunned, though, out of the air, forced onto the ground, but still the damage is good, and the Colonels will have to try again.
The rest as well is going to connect just in time, so the side of Post, they have all the numbers to work with here. The pressure is on a barrage that is going to get the last few trying to stay alive in the closed area. So Coronels, because of that, having to back up, having to work together, losing the main members of their team, as more of that poke phase is going to take place for them in the meantime.
That poke phase is only gonna benefit the Post University here. Law hacks that Mega Health back, taking away some of the usefulness of that positioning that Post University currently has. The Flirty trying to get in some of this poke damage as the teams rotate. We're going to see the Amplification Matrix committed, but Colonels just rotate effectively into this little room right here, really mitigating the Amplification Matrix almost completely. Flirty, though, has this Dragon Strike online. I'm anticipating it getting out soon enough. There it goes, gonna go right through a couple of members of the Colonels, but they back away once again and don't take too much damage.
And you can stay alive just in time. There's so much damage as well here. Shatter all the way in the back. Only because of the Diva, but could be enough here. The Diva managing, though, to run away in the defense. Still shining, looking strong on EMP, though. Now changing things around. The Flux is going to connect and is going to be effective here.
That it is. It takes JBev out of the fight. Without her main tank present, things are going to be very difficult for Post. A Blind Swan goes down right before they get the barrage as well. A couple of picks coming in from the snipers of the Colonels, clicking heads very well indeed. Flirty on point now, trying to hold this down as hard as they can for Post University, but that's going to be about all that is left. And now progress will start to be taken by Colonel.
33% and counting on the side of Colonels. We're going to just clean up this fight of barrage. Last opportunity, last dream here, but I feel like it was wasted because sure, you take down the Mercy, but you have no one else to continue touching the points, so that ultimate is just not going to get any value at all. Post is not going to have the barrage for that second point. The Colonels could simply snowball with the ultimate and the poke. They're able to connect early on, especially if Law is able to go all the way in the back, hack a couple members, and build that EMP soon.
They're going to have to get through several ultimates of Post first, though, to make that a reality. JBev, she has the supercharger online, ready to go. Fire Strike going to connect onto Flirty. They get on to about half health as the rotation is coming through from Colonel Esports. We've got Hive on the Widow now, looking to wait for a moment when they can move to this high ground positioning. A Blind Swan briefly distracted. They're going to be able to post up now in choke. Here comes that supercharger from JBev. Now Law doesn't quite have the EMP ready yet. The Colonels need to continue to take this slow and wait to build up that win condition, which works just fine because they kite away this damage from the supercharger and once again mitigate its effectiveness.
The win condition has been set here, and EMP is about to be ready. Colonels they just have to initiate with it strong, and a shatter. Those are going to allow that to happen. There's so much damage that this Reinhardt alone is able to connect. A self-destructo trying to stop the momentum just a little bit. Diana goes down, and there's a cancer in the defense.
There absolutely is, especially with the res and the fact that Frosty's self-destruct hit. We're gonna see Bucky try to escape, but they're not gonna be able to. And what a turnaround for Post University.
It was an opening that started a little bit unexpectedly in the Sarah Cardinals. We saw the Nano, we saw the Shatter as well. Got quite a lot of value, but the EMP wasn't used. So the win condition for them, the big win condition for them, is still there. Law is going to try to connect. It has to get the tanks, has to get the supports as well, but everyone is spread across the map, making the situation so much more difficult to work with.
That difficulty really going to come into effect now, especially that Law is down. One pick on each side, though, but Law had the EMP. No really a follow-up to it, though, on their side, so probably not the worst thing in the world. Rez is going to come in as well onto Flirty, and once again, the Colonels have been stalled out at this joke.
To back up, having to wait for the EMP still because of the hook that connected so well. And the hook, it's Frosty being so hungry to get those kills as well. Again, the Sombra gets spotted. The Sombra gets taken down twice in a row now before anyone else in the team. That is a complete disaster to work with because time is running out, and time in a map like this one is going to be everything.
It is. Post University, they are not going down without a fight tonight. This is them with their back against the wall, and they have to be feeling good right now because there's a minute left on the clock for the Colonels to try and make something happen, and they're down a member again. It's once again a 5v6 before they even get to choke. Rez is going to come through now onto Widowmaker. Charge comes in as well onto a sleeping Frosty. A Blind Swan does get the pick though, and they've got this barrage ready to go. Here comes the EMP. We're going to see the Shatter land as well, but a Blind Swan going to lose that barrage. Too many shields in the way though, and a Sleep Dart connects, ending their reign of terror in the skies. So many members on point now from the Colonels, but Hope is down. That is an opportunity. Frosty finds Bucky, and with that, could we possibly have another hold from Post University? We do. Dryad.
Yeah, it's going to be the last seconds in the tragedy here in the Sarah Cardinals. We're looking so strong, and now have no time remaining. They're getting picked one by one, and Flux hopefully change things, but the Spara is just getting absolutely everything, is destroying the enemy one by one. Their chances are going to start to fade away. Oh no, so close, and so far into this one as well.
That was a tremendous defense from Post University. I mean, the Colonels had just a sliver more that they needed to get before they ticked over to that first third of a point on second. And I mean, that could be the difference maker here, right? Because if Post University just captures first point, we're going to a map 4, regardless of whether or not they get second.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be either a draw or it's going to be the victory going on the set of Post for the first time. This is why I said it is a good map for reverse sweeps to start taking place. It's also a map that we don't usually see third, so Post absolutely capitalizing from that and capitalizing from the mistakes of the Colonels, which were quite a lot, honestly. The EMP didn't get value for 3 fights in a row because the Sombra was getting taken down first, and so it was a very long poke phase that didn't really have clear beginning and ending of fights in a map where all you depend on is very clear fights that have to take place for you to win, especially on the attacking side. You're either all forcing and putting that pressure into point, or everyone is going to be backing up and resetting. We didn't really get the chance to see that much from the Sarah Colonels, and because of that Post, we're just in such a nice positioning to work with. So a good win condition for them now that has been set, and it's got to be everything about getting that first point.
It is going to be everything about getting that first point, and they've got a good composition to do it as well. I feel like this has very burst win potential, if you will, right? They're just going to be looking to build up that nano boost for my dudes stuff, and get that beam charged up for J-Bev. Once she's at high charge, once you've got that nano boost built, which is getting built tremendously fast, you send Frosty in and you just open things up. Here goes Frosty for a quick soft dive. They're gonna get the biotic grenade boost as well. Gonna be one member down for the Colonels already. This is not good for their side. They wanted to put a stop to this, and already the Post has an amazing opportunity here with this Katsumi down and out of the fight. But they needed to get picks a little bit quicker than this. Now they're starting in force, and right before Law gets that Bob online. But the tank line is down now for Post. We're going to see the res come in onto Frosty. Is this going to be enough to keep this point alive? We're going to see the capture start here as Bucky goes down. Now, just the members coming back from spawn. Dryad, we may very well be heading to bat number 4.
It does seem like that is going to be the case here. Oh no, definitely regretting the early decisions that they were committing into this map on their attacking side. So now they're just gonna have to deal with it and hold as much as they can, at least to not take a map loss. It's everything that they can hope for in a situation like this one. And in fact, it's starting so much better now with the Valkyrie early on.
That it is, but we're gonna see a blind spot in the back line, and they're not being taken care of. There is Katsumi. She eventually finds a blind spot in the sky, evening up the playing field and giving the advantage to the Colonels. They can just hold through the rest of this. Their respawn advantage will be in their favor. Frosty down and out of the fight, though, and with Putnut popping this supercharger, that's gonna be it for Post's first chance on point number 2.
The defense that has the spawn advantage, has a double shield, is just a really nice adaptation coming in for Colonels, who know that the composition has to change quite a lot, and that know that everything is going to be about holding strong. And the best way to hold strong against a FAR that has been so prominent in this map, it's gotta be with a lot of poke, a lot of ways to get this FAR, more than just a single DPS who has to take care of it. But a dive as well that can be effective here with the double bubble is gonna come from the left.
Massive barrage coming in, but it's going to be 2 picks on the side of the Colonels. That's really going to set the pace of things here. Gravitic Flux is going to land as well. We're going to see the res come out onto Frosty. Things looking a little bit rough for the Colonels at the moment. J-Bev now on point, but without a bubble, she's not going to last too long. And with that, Post University backs off.
Up here, playing very, very patiently. It's everything that the defense can expect. They don't want to give a single map to the enemy, and a draw is going to be better than that. But so much time that they have to deal with, that they have to waste from the set of Posts to have a chance. And but it seems as well that it's going to be a very big one. No shields as well, no main tank for Post, but instead is going to be Frosty changing into the Roadhog. We've seen this Roadhog be effective, but in an attacking side where there's so much poke, you're just going to see the enemy their ultimate.
Yeah, exactly, and we're seeing that get built up right now. J-Bev just about has this Graviton Surge. Law is out of the fight due to some excellent play from Frosty. Here comes the Nano Boost now onto Hive. That's going to do so much damage.
Ooh.
There's a Death Blossom, good for 4, and with that, Post backs off again.
Almost an answer here for 5 ultimates actually committed for Post.
Wow.
To get something, and a single Death Blossom was able to stop all of that at once. It's a Death Blossom that we don't usually see working out. It's a Death Blossom that usually gets blocked so easily, but it was an open field and a free field to work with for this Reaper. So single-handling calms down the situation, gives it a little chance for the team, because the single fight will do it. So Post, they just have to regroup. They have to farm those ultimates again, and they already found an opening again.
Yeah, big hook coming in from Frosty. We're going to see the supercharger used in response. The blind spawn has an excellent angle for this Deadeye, but they're going to have to drop down because of Law. Law able to find Flirty, but in the meantime, a blind swan has come back up and is good for 2. Going to be another pick in favor of Post. The Immortality Field there to keep them up. It's just Bucky on point. They're going to use that Gravitic Flux, but they're hooked out of it by Frosty. That's gonna be one tick on the board and one map on the board for Post as well. Just a couple more picks that they need to finish this off. But the Colonels, they don't want to let go of this. Law out on the Tracer, but they're going to be dealt with quickly. Blind Swan is out of the fight. They're back now. We've got the Wrecking Ball for the stall. Immortality Field committed by Katsumi to try and put themselves back in this. Now there absolutely is a chance for that. Bucky going down very low on this D, but they are going to hold on to his leg. Oh, Katsumi is down, though. So has to commit the nano boost as well. But Post, they're backing off. They're giving space. They've got to pick, though, on the putt nut. Now they could potentially push this back again. A Blind Swan getting a lot of damage from an off angle. Now they're pushing it from the front. Able to find Law. A minute left to go, but the kills are in their favor, and I don't think they're going to need that long to finish this off now, Dryad.
This one advantage here is doing everything for his head of Colonel, putting the pressure, touching one by one, and making sure that they stand a chance into this one. There's none of them, though, on the other side. For Coast, they were staying alive, and Minefield, though, that is going to challenge that in a big one here, because it is going to be a bit of a piece taken down. It can be a little bit more momentum that Post has been waiting for, and it might be just that. Time is running out. There's less than 30 seconds. It might be the map victory, finally, going for Post.
That was intense. You have to applaud Colonels, though, for trying to hold on to that for dear life. They knew they were going to a map 4 regardless, but they did want him to have the map. They get it in the end, though, and Post beginning to claw their way back in this matchup.
It's a nice situation here on the City Coast. They needed that victory. They needed to know that the reverse if it's going to take place. Has to start with the best way possible, and it's gonna be not a draw, but a complete victory going their way. So now we see a little bit more control coming in, but I just feel like this is not the biggest weakness for them. It's just the nature of the map. We see a lot of draws. We see a lot of situations like this one taking place, and it just felt like they just were never comfortable in this map, not attacking, not defending.
Right.
Sure, you're making the right steps, you're using the right ultimates, but it's a matter of seconds to guarantee who is going to win, especially that second point too. So it was a very good fight that both teams were able to put, but it's going to be Post getting away with the first map.
Yeah, beautiful play from them from start to finish. I can see exactly why they chose Anubis as their final map. I was about to make a prediction here, Dryad, but I see that the map has already been chosen. We are headed to King's Row, and I think this is the perfect choice coming out from the Colonels. We've seen how dominant their brawl is all night.
We've seen quite a lot of King's Row as well, right? It's a classic. It's one of those maps that it's just rare not to see it more than anything. In tournaments like this one, where everyone is jumping into King's Row when they're practicing as well. So you want to show what you practice. You want to show that, sure, you can play the rush that is so well known in a map like King's Row, but you can also play something else. And I'm talking about the first point, where sometimes we even see the double shield, and the double shield also had quite a lot of presence throughout the day and throughout this entire match. So I wouldn't mind seeing it on the defense, trying to hold it with as much as you can, and even bringing that possibility of the mate, which feels like it's lacking throughout map after map that we've gotten the chance to see.
You're absolutely right. That's a good point. I hadn't noticed that we hadn't seen May yet at all, but we haven't. And this is absolutely, if you're going to see her anywhere, you're going to see her on King's Row. That's for sure. So very likely that we're going to see her come out here. And I'm curious to see what the answer is going to be from Post University here. Are they going to try and take this squad head on in a brawl v brawl, or do we see them come out with something different? It's absolutely a brawl favored map, but we've even seen pro teams take to dive, take the double shield. There are other options.
Yeah, there's other options, and I just think that, it's already an indication, right? Throughout the day, we haven't really seen a mirror between these two teams. There's always a big difference between what is being played. So even if one team might bring that Reinhardt to the table, it's not always a full indication of how the match in second point, more than anything, that street phase that can be so difficult is going to play out. Again, like it's even more likely to see that double shield based on what the teams have shown us today and based on how
Yeah.
easy it as well as to synergize with a double shield where in the first point you're all working together, you're all rotating the abilities that are being used instead of working with them all at once. And when it comes to those rotations, I still feel like Cardinal has been able to do that just a little bit better. I mean, that is why they have two maps that they were able to get back to back.
You're right. I think you comment about the rotations, and I think that's absolutely right. And we can take it even further. Just say that the play all around from Colonels has just been tighter. I feel like, right? The decisions have been made faster. The moves have been made faster. The ultimates have been committed faster. The plans have been executed faster. And when you control the tempo like that, you're more than likely going to be in control of the game, and therefore getting the wins. And as we load into King's Row, we're going to have the Colonels on defense first this time around. Post going for attack.
Attackers incoming in 30
Now, Colonels on the defensive side has to be something scary, has to be something that you wanted to avoid, but in a map like this one, especially in a situation like this one, it's all that you have to deal with. So yeah, the composition that we talked about, the rush is going to be played on the defense, is going to be the Rhine Zarya. That sure has had some varieties recently. A lot of teams deciding to play the Reinhardt with the D.Va instead. Just has a lot more mobility. But when you have a support line that requires so much peeling, so much working together, as Law is back on that Zenyatta, and you're going to consider going for that Zarya for those bubbles more than anything to keep the team alive. You feel when it's needed the most, and this defensive positioning to waste as much time as you can from this bit of post.
They're going to start to move in, but Bucky meets J-Bev with a fire strike to the face, and with that, the post is at 5 now. Post University likely going to have to back off. No, they do get the res, as a matter of fact, so they're going to be able to continue this push, and now Bucky's shield is looking a little worse for wear. We're going to see him back off to use that bubble from Putnut. Immortality field committed as well, but it's not going to be there fast enough to stay Law. Save Law. Bucky gonna fall. Number 1 is down as well, but they do have a pick onto my dude stuff. So that is an opportunity, but too many I think have fallen at this point from Colonel Esports, and Post will in fact take the first point of King's Row.
Every single win condition that I've seen from this sort of post, it's not being about ultimates, but it's about Frosty on this Roadhog. It's able to do so much over and over again because it's getting the opening pick, it's isolating targets, and that is why Colonels has such a crucial role, especially this offhang. 2 bubble targets that are getting hooked, and to keep the team alive. If we can see this happening, there is going to be a chance for Colonels to hold this second point, but if not, it's going to be over and over again. Frosty finds an opening with the Roadhog and everyone working after that. Yeah, we get to see it again. It's just happening right and left every single map, even the last one. That was the win condition for Post.
It certainly was, and right now they're looking as though that win condition is going to carry them again. A Blind Swan now looking for the barrage on the flank. There it is. It's going to catch 2. Bucky eventually going to take him out, but Putnam falls right after that. The rest of the Colonels go down, and Post continuing to push forward and making short work of street space.
Very nice job here on the side of Post. Once again, knowing and really understanding what worked out in the previous maps, and then the fight that we got to see them win. Roadhog opening up the fight, the pressure that you put with the barrage and the Farah in the air is creating multiple angles for them to work with. So now, Post pushing forward, Frost finally getting taken down first, and Colonels have quite a lot of ultimates, all 6 ultimates to work with. They've got to be reacting now because at some point they already lost.
Gravitic Flux committed, but the Transcendence is there. Katsumi popped her Amplification Matrix as well. We're going to see Graviton Surge committed, Dragon Strike through, and that's going to be the Colonels finally putting a stop, but they had to spend 5 ultimates to slow down Post's roll.
Only the Visor left. It's also probably the worst ultimate you have left. It's so hard. Sure, we've seen the Visor get quite a lot of value today, especially in that first map, but making it happen constantly, it's so hard because it can become so predictable because there's so many places to hide as well and protect yourself from it. So situation here becomes a very difficult task to deal with on the attacking side. Because they're trying to find an answer, and they're going to already force an immortality.
With Kof going down, Tac Visor is topped. We're going to see that push back a lot of the members of Post. They will find, number one, a Helix rocket kill onto Flirty, but the res is going to come in. But not able to dissuade that action. Medusa just about ready to use this amplification matrix too. This is going to be a big push coming in from Post now, especially with Putnut out of the fight. Frosty pushing forward now very hard. The shield of Bucky going down very low. They are forced to back off, taking out number one as well since they didn't have a shield. Now the whole hog dealing a tremendous amount of damage, and we are having a blisteringly fast time coming out from Post right now. They are primed to capture this with over 3 minutes in the bank.
There's so much time remaining. There's so much time to work with as well. Those dragons as well. About to be ready, can do everything.
Wow.
And Colonel seems like was about to use a bit, waiting for the right time, waiting for the ultimate as well to be available in just a couple of seconds. And the Mercy as well, trying to run away. It's not going to be the case. And finally, a reset that we get to see the payload moves back. It was so close again. So Post, I mean, they're still in a really good situation. Frosty is still in the Roadhog, is everything that you can dream of. And you have a barrage of multiple angles that are going to be targeted. Easy isolation that is going to do everything for this attacking team, especially with so much time remaining.
Yeah, they've got a tough task ahead of them indeed, but the Colonels do have 5 ultimates built up now. Including the Tac Visor once again. Barrage gonna land though. That takes Law out of the fight. Number one, and Katsumi Fall as well. A huge amount of damage coming in, and Post is making quick work of the Colonels, and they will capture King's Row with 2:33 on the clock.
2-3-3 now on the attacking side for Post. Now we get to see what Colonels can bring into this one themselves. I feel like Colonels is one of those attacking teams that are able to just do so much better when they are over and over again initiating those fights. And not to say you can't do that on the defense, but it requires quite a lot of coordination to make it work out. So now a little bit of slowing here. Colonels, I want to see the aggression. They showed it to us in first and second map. They can do it again just to close things out, because if not, the mental plays also a role into what can happen.
Yeah, it absolutely can. The mental is such a big deal here, and it has to be at least strained right now for the Colonels, right? Even if they're holding on to it, and but it has to be feeling strained. And so, you know, looking now at this attack where, you know, let's look at this on paper, right? On paper, the Colonels should have this, right? So this has to be frustrating to them, right? You know, they're playing it by the book, but they're getting countered by this very off-the-wall, bizarre composition that the Post is throwing at them, and is working very well. So that's another factor I think you have to take into account here. That's probably shaking it as well. And you know, I at this point, I think I have to question Putnut on the Zarya. I think a Diva is in order here because of how much value this far is getting now from a Blind Swan, but that might not be in Putnut's wheelhouse, which could be a problem.
The Zarya here is going to have bubbles for when someone gets hooked. So it's going to keep the team alive. It's going to keep that backline alive more than anything that can get taken down so easily. But if the bubbles are not timed well, it just becomes a disaster. And this is something that we've seen over and over again now instead of Colonels. But again, because they are starting on the attacking side, they can find an opening that's much easier. And they already forced an immortality to get used. That is gotta be the opening. Mercy down.
Yeah, with that Mercy down already, things are going great for Colonels. But there is going to be a counter pick. A Blind Swan finding Kof. It usually works the other way around. Number one just about has this barrage online, and they are outpacing a Blind Swan tremendously. Maybe the answer to this Pharah was a Pharah of their own. Hook going to come out from Frosty. Not going to find its intended target. 3 minutes left to go. But with Putnut down, it's going to be Post holding.
Barrage that is waiting for the right time, for the right answer. for this usage, and it's gonna be a careful one too. I feel like we're gonna see a change coming in for Coffee. He was able to get the opening pick, but getting so much value with the Widowmaker can be something that is stopping your team and slowing it down. So now, Colonels, they get to try again on this attacking side, and they're going to play around the statue before starting that fight.
Gravitic Flux going to be used early by JBev. She found a couple of targets, but the barrage from number 1 lands, and it lands hard. We're going to see a fight back coming in now from Post. They get the res, and that's going to tilt things in their favor. Graviton Surge, though, committed by Putnut. Not going to find the kills that they wanted, and in fact, they're finding themselves on the worst side of things at the moment. Post posting up a great defense here, but JBev getting pummeled pretty heavily by a high charge Putnut. And with that, the Colonels finally are going to be able to break through and start to get some percentage on the board, and likely the entire point.
Oh, it's going to be 1 by 1 trying to come into point, but the Roadhog gets taken down, and the last chances as well are going to fade away. Going to be one opportunity here. A rest as well that is starting to connect. Almost does it, but at the end, doesn't get anything else. The point finally goes in the side of Colonels. The payload starts to move, and it took a couple of teams putting a Genji that will now get.
Yeah, this is great adaptation coming out from the Colonels. They're saying to Post, all right, you're not gonna play by the rules, neither are we. We're gonna start to make something that you can't handle come to play. So with number 1 on this Mara and Kof on the Genji, we're really seeing some things open up for him now. And after a tremendous Graviton Surge, the Colonels continue to roll through streets of Kean.
You pass this corner, and the opportunities become so much easier for the second checkpoint to go your way. And Colonels, they understand this. They're going to push forward with the 2 tanks, and they're going to make sure that it's the least amount of fights possible to guarantee more control for them. So Post, in the meantime, they're just coming back. They're going to play with an Echo now instead, and just apply in the sky with 2 different heroes that are going to be played. A little bit of speed that is going to be created, but those dragons are still coming in for answer, and a fluff that is going to be answered after.
The Flux gonna land a few people onto the ground. Number 1 gonna be one of them. Courtesy actually of a blind Quan Kof now with the Dragon Blade. They're gonna start slicing through the competition, but they find their demise. The focusing being too much from Echo. Just a couple of meters left for the Colonels to try and push through this, but they're coming up against some stiff competition right now. We're gonna see Flirty swap over to the Ashe as well. A lot of adaptation now coming through from Post, but Colonels are doing a tremendous job handling it, and they are eventually going to be able to come away with this fight win here, as long as they can get these last few staggers out of the way.
It's a really nice Tiny that we got to see into the fight. The ball connected into the enemy, into the side of Post. It got Frosty on the Arisa. Frosty had nowhere to run. He had no shield as well. So you take down that shield that everyone is hiding behind, and you open up the doors for Colonels to continue moving this payload. We'll continue to do that as well, as everyone is going to aggress him. They want to also contest the high ground. That is even fine. One of you will be strong, but they have to themselves again. They're investing so early into the fight.
That they are, and actually now one of the late resources invested into it. Law's anti-nade lands hard. A blind Swan gonna duplicate the Pharah. We're likely gonna see a couple of barrages come out here in short order. Post gets a couple of kills, and with that they will have the hold as long as they just make these plays the way they should. We're gonna see Bucky trying to back off, but they're not gonna be long for this world. Putnut won't be either. They try to get to that mini health pack, not going to be there. Law throws themselves off the map. And with that, the Colonels go back to spawn. And now, even if they do finish, it's going to be with less time on the clock.
Few minutes here to work with Colonels. Not in the worst positioning, but a lot to work with next. But like you said, the timing is going to be against them the more that the fight lasts. Suppose they have to play this smart. They have to initiate with the walkthrough, with the amplification, one after the other, and make sure that the momentum continues to go their way. There's so many opening tools for them, but it's going to be Colonel actually starting off this fight. The rest is going to connect, so Bob is going to be online still.
Oh, Barrage gonna be cut short at the last moment. The res will come in. My dude's out of the fight, but so is Kof. Right before they were able to get that blade online with the nano as well. Post University doing a tremendous job holding back the Colonels right now, and they're making a great case for themselves to come back and take this in a reverse sweep. Bucky has the Shatter. Now they're going to lay it down. Flirty falls onto the ground. The Shatter already taking out J-Bev. With her out of the fight, it's going to be Frosty using the supercharger to try and turn the tides in their favor, but Bucky's Rocket Hammer has other plans at the moment. They go down very low, but they are going to stand tall at the end of the day, and with just a little over a minute left, we get a last moment contest by Tracer. They're going to keep it alive, and the Colonels are going to end with 1 minute on the clock.
1 minute that turns into the default time here on the side of Colonels. It's not the greatest, it's not the worst here, but I do believe that they should be able to hold for at least 2 fights onto what Post is going to bring to the table on the attacking side. So Colonels are depending once again on playing aggressive and finding those openings. This is the biggest thing for them because it's lacking so much. They are winning those fights more than anything that mid-fight, where they're able to make sure that the straights get more value and get quite a lot more than that after. But Post is the one often initiating those fights. We talk about Frosty, and Frosty was finally counter onto that Roadhog, was forced to play Risa, and suddenly Post didn't look as strong as they used to look. So as long as Colonels force Frosty into something else, it seems like they stand a chance. I mean, they not only forced Frosty out of the Roadhog, but they also forced the Farah to play an Echo instead. And both flying heroes, they can get quite a lot of value. They can get quite a lot of momentum, especially talking about the duplicate. But the damage that the Farah is able to put early on has been an absolute highlight of this match. So Colonels understand that, they counter it, and they counter it with their own Farah, their own damage that is able to connect early on.
And now Post looking to counter that Farah with the Echo, but I have to say it wasn't quite doing what it needed to last time around. Echo typically going to be the one winning out that duel, but number 1, I think, coming out on top in the end right there. We're going to see Colonels going with what worked at the last point. They're going to be trying to build up this barrage as fast as they can. Law already halfway to a nano. That is tremendous. Go flagging behind us, so not going to be committed to them. At least not initially. Flirty gets left. We're going to see Law have to commit the biotic grenade to keep their team alive as an onslaught of damage comes in from Post University. Less than 30 seconds to go. This is going to be one fight, and it's going the way of the Colonels. They found a couple of picks early on. That's going to snowball into several more. All 6 still standing tall for them. And with that, they capture first and head into street.
A beautiful fight here coming in for Colonel. Sure, it's going to be overcome, but as long as you're able to take control, the win condition is just going as far as you can. More than anything, because Colonel was playing for the nano, but the nano wasn't used. They still have this utility. They still have this ultimate to use whenever. Law does get taken down though, but should be able to come back alive, looking at how aggressive everyone is playing on the side of Colonel. You're going to create as much space. You're going to pass this corner, and as long as they keep someone on the payload, they can win this one.
They absolutely can. The res is going to come in at the last moment, not willing to wait for them to even get back from spawn as that card is starting to round Bookshop. Things are looking great right now for the Colonels. Post in a tremendously bad situation. J-Bet forced onto the Wrecking Ball to try and make something work, try and change things up. Anti-Nade's going to hit them, force them to go away. Not getting the value that they had hoped for. They're getting chased very hard by Cope as well, who now has that blade online. We're going to see the barrage come out as well. One of them likely going to be used to take out that immortality field. We're going to see the amplification matrix though used early on. That's going to be good for a pick on the Buggy. Here comes the nano blade. It's good for 2. Both supports are down for Post. And with that, things have gone from bad to worse for them. And the reverse sweep is looking a little rougher moment by moment as the Colonels continue their cataclysmic run through the streets of Kean.
A barrage to connect next, and because the Farah is going to need quite a lot of support. It's going to be the Mercy right next to her, and it's going to be the Anna as well, being so aware of everyone that can try to shut down the Farah down. So a little bit of early reaction time that is going to do everything for this next fight. The barrage that can be so effective here at Post. It's just getting absolutely destroyed. Beautiful anti-nade coming in next, and Coffee just having a field day here into this area, knowing the way and the teamwork that's connecting so well. And here as well.
Wow.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, the barrage is still going to connect so much damage. It doesn't even matter if the stigma is going to be there.
No, it doesn't. This is absolutely incredible from the Colonels. Coffee has turned this around on the back of a big anti-nade for them. But they're going to be taken out early by Flirty. This could be where Post finally gets their hold. But a big Graviton Surge going to catch so many of them in that door. Try to keep them off the point as long as they can. It's going to be good for 1 kill onto Deadly Drew. My Dutsa goes down as well, but number 1 has fallen. Now I've got Coffee trying to make it back. There's no DPS on the ground at the moment for Colonel Esports, but it might not matter because that is a big nano boost in. I can't believe it. The Colonels finished King's Row.
Score 5-3.
They don't finish it though. They get close.
Oh, they didn't? Oh, you're right. They
They
didn't. I thought
don't.
they got it.
I am just processing that. It was almost there, but it didn't get to 6.
Yeah, I think somebody stepped off the cart right there at the moment because that looked like it was going the Colonel's way.
Yeah, it was going their way. They were winning the fight, but it was still just a little bit. Yeah, it was just a little bit more that was needed for them. I mean, at the end of the day, the points are not going to do much. I don't see a lot of possibilities where King's Row goes to even more rounds than this one. This is already just reaching quite a lot. So it's falling so much into Post and what they're able to do, right? It's a long way to go with the payload, and sure, they have more time, but we see over and over again, and we got to see from Colonels, time doesn't always mean anything. It doesn't always mean a win condition. It's a minute that they had to work with, and a minute that they value so much that they got almost until the end. So Post, they have to get as much value too, and that starts with the early fights that we see. Sure, they're gonna potentially bring those close range DPS, including that Reaper, see how much he can get from that. But again, the early ultimates, like we saw Konos doing with Law and building the Nano, are not going to really their Post.
We're going to see Post taking a back way through a hotel to take on the Colonels. 1 player down already from them. This is starting out well for Post. Things going from bad to worse for the Colonels. No Law to be found anywhere. Katsumi, the remaining support, but they're not going to be long for this world. They're just going to back off. And with that, Post takes a very quick first point on King.
About 30 seconds or so that took Post to take control into this one, and now they're going to continue pushing forward. It's the same thing that Colonels did. So it's just passing this corner more than anything that is so hard to deal with, as the defense is already positioned there because of the timing for Colonels, they couldn't position themselves. They're going to play around the map as well, try to get some things to work with and backing up as well. So they have to be very reactive of the aggression because Post already got their opening pick here.
We're going to see the res come in. Can they survive through Flirty trying to pick them off? They are able to do just that. Cart now rounding Bookshop. And Dynamite going to dissuade Post from pushing forward at least for a moment while they shake that off. Immortality Field, in fact, has to be committed. But in the meantime, Bucky is down. So Post making quick work of this map as well. They said, we're not content to let you steal the show. Dragon Strike comes in as well. But can Coffee launch theirs and find some value too? We're going to see a couple of picks coming in favor of Post once again. The Colonels don't have any supports online at all. This is another fight win for Post and possibly second point.
Ultimate View is going up contest. One teammate with this Bob is going to stop right before the payload gets taken in, and it's a good way to start it off. The target gets taken down, the grab as well. Everything that Colonels was doing was stacking ultimates. The Reinhardt, though, taken down. Can be a tragedy here, but it seems like it's working out just fine for Colonels. Playing, still having a Valkyrie in their hands, and still managing to get more numbers than Post in.
The Death Blossom, though, might have turned things around at the last moment for Post, but a nano boost on a Punda puts a stop to that. 5 seconds left to go, Can anyone even touch? We're going to see J-Bab with a shield, with a bubble and a dream, but the charge is there. The charge is good. And with that, the Colonels will take the series 3-1.
It got very messy, especially at the end. But the win condition that I was looking at on the defense was knowing when to use those ultimates. And it is something that they capitalized from so well. It was post using the dragons early on. They had no grab to work with yet. It was only at 70%. So what does Connells do? They know they have more ultimates. They have about 5 ultimates to rotate with. And they start using them one by one. They start layering them until it just works the way that it was needed. It's a cheesy win condition in an overtime round where you just save all 6 ultimates, use them all at once, and hope for the best. But a single win was already doing quite a lot, and we saw the results. It was at the end of the day looking for who was able to adapt better, and for this map especially, it was everything that Cardinal was able to do.
It was. That was just what they needed there at the end. Um, but you've gotta congratulate Post Uni as well. They made it exciting for us, and what a run they had. They almost brought us to a reverse sweep. Colonel's able to hold on to it at the end there. We are going to throw it to a short break, but right after that, we're gonna have a quick interview before we close things out for the evening. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We have got one of the members in here for an interview. Welcome, Putnut, to the interview booth, and congratulations on a great win tonight for the Colonel.
Thank you, Juggle and Dryad. It's a pleasure to get in this interview. Yeah, that was an exciting King's Row. Wouldn't y'all say?
That was a very exciting King's Row. Yeah, I loved every moment of it. Now, I wanted to ask, right before that, we were at Temple of Anubis, and you guys got stalled out on second point. You were looking so strong in the series, and then all of a sudden, Post University came alive, and they seemed to put their foot in the ground, or put their foot in the sand, and they almost did that on King's Row, too. What was the adaptation that you all had to make as a team, either in your approach or compositionally, or both, that allowed you to come back in this series? Because if you hadn't made an adaptation, I don't know if we'd be talking to you in this booth right now.
Yeah, so we prepared not for double shield, and then when we ran into it, we ran with a lot of problems. We expected to just Sigma and Diva, but once those double shields came out, we knew we had to swap back to the Zarya, and the Grav was the name of the game, and getting that online, enabling our DPS to get these combos, like the Genji we had. So I would have to say shield break was very important from the Zarya as well as the rest of the team, and that's how we got it done.
Yeah, and talking about the way that you guys were adapting, because we got to see quite a lot of it throughout the maps. What was the change that had to happen? Because we saw Frosty getting quite a lot of value with that Roadhog. So how do you guys make sure or force that change? Because he changed at the end to that Orisa. So
So yeah,
how did you play around that?
putting our most comfortable character back on Ana and punishing the overextension, because there was a lot of times where the hog was further than the team. So
Yeah.
getting these antis on the hog is the name of the game. Also, just being more responsible as a team. We got a little stressed out, so we were like, hey, everyone chill out. No one needs to walk in front of shields. Let's all play Overwatch how we know how to play it.
And I feel like that point also really started in Temple, and we got to see it's a map that we don't really get to see very often, and it's a map that is so hard to get used to more than anything. It's just the nature of those assault maps where anything can happen, and we could have even seen a draw. So, what I want to ask, what is your preparation for a map like that one?
It really requires adaptation between point one and point two. On Volskaya, Hanamura, and the Anubis, you're almost given to get that first point, but the second one is where it makes the difference. So adapting, they adapted a little bit better than us on Anubis with that double shield. So it was on us to go back and see how we could have adapted to their changes better. I think that's where it was adaptation.
Adaptation frequently the key to success here, I think, in Overwatch, and you all showed great use of that, and great showing of that principle as well. So congratulations to you on the win tonight. Now, my final question is something a little bit different. We're going to take a little bit of a left turn here. Not too hard though. I understand you've got a charity event coming up very soon that you'd like to talk about. Could you tell us a little bit more about this and how we might be able to participate?
So yeah, we're gonna have two upcoming streams this Saturday, the 12th, and on Wednesday, March 15th. And we're raising money for our organization. Our organization is entirely community funded. So the people of Thibodaux, Louisiana, as well as the university, people individually decide to support us with donations. So we are harboring the donations from this community and using it to improve our space. As you can see behind me, we currently have 10 PCs. This is only our second semester, and we want to grow as an esports organization. We want to be the esports organization of Louisiana, if not the Southwest. So that's one of our goals, is to raise donations. We're going to be doing a bunch of fun activities and Valorant team versus Overwatch team on each other's games. A bunch of fun. So check out Colonel
Oh,
Esports.
that sounds great.
Yeah, check out Colonel
well,
Esports for more.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for letting us know about that. Congratulations on the win tonight, and good luck to you during the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us here tonight. What a series we had. Great showing from both Post University and Colonel Esports. Colonel coming up in the end, improving their record just a little bit more. Dryad, before we throw it to a close, any final words from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like always, just keep an eye on all the matches that we have. Not only for Overwatch, but we have quite a lot of games here. So just keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on those scores as well, because teams that can be having the better score have very difficult matches coming up. So it's a matter of, are they going to stay there? And again, like we heard in the interview a lot, the adaptation that happens not only map after map and fight after fight, but the matches itself that are also requiring teams to adapt to the enemy.
They absolutely are. Great final words, final thoughts tonight from you. Thank you so much, Dryad. Thank you to all our production crew, ECAC, as well, and our sponsors. That's going to do it for us tonight. And until next time, GG's.